It is 10 o'clock. Good morning from the 104.5 The Zone Studios. I'm Lucas Panzica. Tennessee football picked up some recruiting momentum on Tuesday, including a four-star duo out of Jackson, Mississippi, committing in defensive lineman Darian Albert and linebacker TJ White. Tennessee moves up to number 12 in the 247 Sports team recruiting rankings for the class of 2026. And the Nashville Predators made a signing on Tuesday, bringing in former Lightning defenseman Nick Perbix on a 2-year deal worth $2.75 million annually. The U.S. men's national team plays the Gold Cup semifinal tonight against Guatemala in St. Louis. Kickoff is at 6 p.m. For all your foundation repairs and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
We set out with one goal for today's show, and that was to mail it in as hard as humanly possible ahead of the July 4th holiday, because locally we are off tomorrow and Friday. I believe, gentlemen, we have accomplished that goal. We got Jason Fitz, we got Greg Cosell, we got Dan Lovitz of Nashville SC. Those fine gentlemen are going to do the heavy lifting today, while Robert, Lucas, and me, we're just going to cruise through the next 3 hours with you. 615-737-1045 is the number. F&M Bank Chat has already started the conversation where I'm greeted by Football Fred, who says, Diddy coming home, bring back the music.
Oh, I don't know about that.
Do we bring back the original show open? Because Diddy was cleared on 3 of the 5 charges in the latest verdict from the jury in that trial. It's the second time the jury has sent a note about a verdict. They said they had reached a verdict on the sex trafficking and Mann Act counts, but were unable to reach a verdict on the racketeering conspiracy charge earlier in the week. They have since done so. Is that the place? You know how when people go through adversity, sometimes you'll see them post on their social media about how good whatever the higher power they believe in is. Are we awaiting the most cringeworthy "How good is God" post from Sean Diddy Combs once he's back out on the streets, because we fully expect him to be back out on the streets here?
Oh, he'll be back, I would imagine.
I think he is back.
I don't think this is going to be enough to lock him up.
I'm waiting for the, just faith and belief and all these other things from Diddy after all this nonsense and terrible, both allegations and proven crimes that he was accused of throughout the course of this. I feel like one of those moments is coming.
So what was he actually convicted of? Prostitution charges?
So what we have here, and I'm reading directly from the foremost news source, TMZ, Diddy is charged with 5 counts, 1 count of racketeering, conspiracy, 2 counts of sex trafficking involving ex-girlfriends, and 2 counts of transportation to engage in prostitution. He was not cleared on the 2 counts of transportation to engage in prostitution.
Right. Convicted of those 2 counts, cleared on everything else.
When you guys said we were going to do Preds talk, I assumed you meant the hockey team.
Dang, buddy.
I told you when you made that joke in the production room that you should have saved that for air. Do you feel good about regurgitating a recycled joke for the audience that hasn't heard it yet?
Well, they didn't know that. They didn't know any of this. I wish you guys would just play along. Like, I mean, half the things I say on here are fabricated. Like, ooh, this really happened. Like, can you guys just act like we're professionals?
I'm still trying to figure out how the hell you got Ashton Jeanty by me.
That was amazing.
So stupid. Anyway,
okay, that's not anything to open up a sports show with. There is major sports news that Robert was, I don't want to say celebrating. I'll let Robert speak for himself.
I think that we finally realized that Red Panda was the friends we made along the way. It wasn't that she was some kind of transcendental halftime show.
Transcendent is the word.
Because there are baby races, dog races, there are tricycle races, there are all kind of races.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, I think it would be infinitely more impressive if there was a fat person riding that unicycle doing it instead of an agile woman. You know, like it would be infinitely more impressive if we could get a 300-pound man on that unicycle.
This Red Panda slander.
You're preying on her downfall.
I'm not preying on her downfall.
And it's distasteful.
I just knew it was going to happen.
For those who don't know,
the injury happened yesterday at the WNBA Commissioner's Cup Championship game between the Fever and the Minnesota Lynx at the Target Center. No update has been given on her condition as of yet, but she did get onto the unicycle, which I think sits about 8 feet off the ground, and the whole act, if you're unaware of Red Panda, which if you're a sports fan, how could you possibly be unaware of
if
Red
you've
Panda?
been to a basketball game in America, let's say if you've been to 5 or more basketball games within the last decade plus, you've probably seen Red Panda at halftime.
She is a critical part of anyone's basketball fandom.
Stop it. I think it's correct to ask,
Wait.
is she no longer...
People don't know. They may not know that she fell off her unicycle and injured her wrist.
Well,
and then
don't
was
say it
carted
like
off
that.
the court.
Still, don't say it like
That's
that.
literally what happened.
It's kind of like, if you ever heard the old adage, if you're going to ride a motorcycle, you better be ready to fall off. If you ever hop on a unicycle, you better be ready to fall off.
She has fallen
It's
before,
going to happen.
But now she's injured.
Oh, and see, that's what I'm saying. Maybe, and I think it's right to ask this, is she no longer in the prime of her career?
Take it back!
Is there a moment where we all need to sit and think that it's time to start raising up other halftime shows and stop propping her up?
Take it back!
I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it.
This may be your most unpopular opinion.
And that's fine. I'm fine with that. Could this injury end her career? Do you think you see her back on the unicycle?
I think once you have such a public fall and once CNN, ESPN, TMZ, Fox News, everybody has, also because it's a slow time in sports, but every news outlet that has a digital arm has aggregated this story and is talking about it. I feel like you probably can't get back up on the unicycle. How old is Red Panda?
I feel like it's not polite.
This is why...
Because in the ESPN article, they do not disclose her real name.
Interesting. That's because she doesn't want you to know. And I would like to respect that. This is why load management happens in several major sports leagues. This is why some of the biggest superstars in the world...
You think she's doing too many touring dates?
I think we are asking too much of Red Panda.
Her real name? Rongnua.
There's no way that's how that's pronounced.
Rongnniu.
Yeah, I meant the second part.
Nua?
I would assume you.
All I'm going to say is Rongnua that her career was going to be over as soon as she got back up on that big-ass unicycle.
Why do you hate this woman?
I just
Beyond
think
the normal reasons that you typically go with the fairer sex.
I think that she is overrated. I think that it is impressive, but is it also impressive that she's been doing the same show
Have you ever tried to do unicycle?
Take it back!
Have I ever tried to do unicycle?
Have
No.
you ever tried to get up on a unicycle? Just to ride the unicycle, not even to balance the bowls and flip them up onto your head or anything else. All of the other high-flying acrobatic acts, athletic acts that she is able to execute, that she has been able to execute at a very high level.
For how long?
For basically 20 years.
Okay, so she's been doing the same exact routine for 20 years.
That's fine.
If you gave me 20 years of practicing, I wouldn't fall off of it anymore.
There's no way.
I would not fall off of it anymore.
All right. Let's make this
I
happen.
have seen you trip and fall over your own Crocs while walking.
We are officially halfway. We're over the halfway point to 2050. We are closer to 2050 than we are the year 2000, officially.
You saw the memes this morning
That's
as well.
right, as we cross the halfway point of the year 2025.
Oh.
So, in the year 2045, Robert, you have 20 years to train and show that you can hold up on a unicycle for an entire radio show.
There is 0% chance that this show is still on the air.
Disagree. I think we're going to still be kicking it in 20 years.
You think the three of us are still going to be doing... God, if we're still doing this in 20 years?
Well, now you've planted the seed for me to plot on this show's downfall. Like, can you imagine?
Isn't that what you spend your 3 hours a day doing?
No, I
Just
try to
trying
prop
to
this
direct-
show up so I
Yeah.
can be famous.
How's
That's what
that?
I try to. That's what I'm trying to do.
Please tweet this picture of me. Please, please.
I need give me a unicycle and I'll do the show on Monday on a unicycle.
No,
the
here's
whole
what I
time.
want. Here's what I want, because we don't leverage the audience enough for our own selfish purposes, but we have an opportunity here. If we get to 20,000 subscribers on YouTube, we will live stream Robert trying to ride on a unicycle.
And everyone has to group source a one-person sauna for my house. Thank you for your consideration.
D good on the
what if I will negotiate with you? What if I pay for you to go to my health club? Which is far nicer than than whatever Facebook Marketplace sauna you would construct half-assed in your backyard.
What happens at a health club?
IVs, they have cryo, they have sauna, they have red light therapy, they have NAD, they have one of those HBOT machines.
You're just saying letters and making things up.
Mm-hmm.
D Good on the FNM Bank chat says she is like V from V for Vendetta. Red Panda has no name because we are all Red Panda.
If you search her name, the actual animal comes up first.
What is that? What are you trying to declare that the actual animal is the superior red panda? It is the red panda Bo's birthday at the Nashville Zoo today. I saw.
Yes, if you would like to see an actual talented red panda, you should go to the zoo's Twitter, and they are wishing Bo a happy birthday.
Do you
over
agree
there.
to my terms? 5,000 subscribers on YouTube, 5,000 more subscribers on YouTube, and we will live stream. We don't have to do it from the station's account, so there's no legal trouble here. We can do it from my account.
Yes, I agree.
I
agree to those terms. Scoop Richardson says, Bert sounds like he's hating on Red Panda. That's because I'm hating on Red Panda. Get a new act. Do it on an actual bicycle. Wouldn't that be more impressive? Wouldn't that be more impressive at this point?
This is the worst take I think you've ever had.
By a mile.
And I'm going to keep having
in a show, in the history of the show, we have, mostly me, have said many, many stupid things in front of a microphone. But you, my friend, this may be the most unpopular opinion in the history of the show.
It is the most unpalatable halftime show in the history of halftime shows.
What do you mean?
Everyone, look at me. Look at me. Well, look at me.
What are you typically doing during halftime? There's no way you're actually watching.
I'm in the bathroom. I don't care.
Yeah.
Everyone's acting like they love halftime. You guys are all in line at beers. No one's watching her. If you're still sitting in your seat, it's because you're checking your Instagram and you happen to look up and see this woman flipping bowls.
Have you ever watched her in person?
Yes, at a Charlotte Hornets game.
Well, that was your first mistake.
I don't understand how you can see what Red Panda does in person.
She is not
be
Evil
amazed
Knievel.
by her.
She is not.
Nobody said that.
Okay, she's
Red Panda.
That is
she
an
is
incredible
an entity
act.
unto herself.
Why?
Who else is doing this?
Because
Who
she
else
has
is
the
doing
market
this act?
cornered. She's not even propping up a young unicyclist.
Instead of supporting her for being a trailblazer and making money in ways that nobody else was making money before, you're gonna denigrate her?
No, she is the Vern Gagne of halftime shows. If you guys aren't familiar, he used to own the AWA, the American Wrestling Association, and he made himself the heavyweight champ. If she was really this trailblazer, this halftime harrower, she would bring other young acts along with her to prop them up. Where are the Jabberwockies? Where are the people that do the halftime shows we care about?
It's not grand enough for you.
No, it's one. Okay, I need 3 of them. Give me 1 red panda and 2 smaller pandas. There needs to be some evolution to this show. It's the same thing as Pat McAfee. It's the same thing.
She is putting her body on the
Red
line
Panda goes
for
down.
your entertainment. Don't bring that obnoxious Pittsburgh accent.
If you want to talk about
show.
putting your body on the line for entertainment, you should appreciate professional wrestling more then.
Me?
Because what they do is actually...
Who said I don't appreciate professional wrestling? I just haven't been a... That's not true. That's not true at all. I'm going to this WWE SmackDown thing with you next Friday.
Yes. And we will see how you act. Do not embarrass me in front of my people.
Embarrass you.
What happened to halftime shows, people fighting bears? What happened to that? If we get 10,000 subscribers, I'll fight a bear.
Okay, well, the legal department is also going to have an issue with that.
I assumed Lucas would be wearing a bear suit or something. We would
actually
finagle
be funny.
Yeah, we should do that.
It wouldn't be Lucas. We'll just use Ross is kind of... No, Jackson can't. Jackson, since Jackson slept through my 4 a.m. Fox Sports thing the other day that he was supposed to set the board up for me, now that I know how to do it, I have zero use for Jackson ever. We can dress Ross as a bear. Ross is our human prop.
Jackson would make an infinitely better bear.
The same way,
but it doesn't have to be a better bear. It just in fact, it's better if it's worse. Like Ross would look like an emaciated bear.
No, I want it to look realistic.
BTS in the
Jackson.
chat. Man, we can tell it's July in sports. That's why we give a rip that she got hurt.
Oh, I'm sorry. Do you have something better for us to talk about?
No, I'm not upset about
No,
what
I'm
we're
not talking to you. I'm yelling at the person in the YouTube chat who thinks that they have so many other things to talk about.
Yes,
Go ahead. Program the show, sir. Make my day.
Yeah, get Red Panda on for us so I can tooey onto that unicycle.
Plus, Jackson can pose a threat. Like,
What if he hugs you and falls?
Yeah. Like, I want someone.
How much does he weigh?
In the bear costume.
He's got to be $4 bills, right?
That could actually. No, wait. What was wrong with you?
Jackson?
We want somebody that could actually, like, pose danger in the costume. Not someone that Robert could just easily take down. I want it to be Jackson.
Isn't Ross a former collegiate athlete?
I want it to be Slay. I want it to be Ramon.
Yeah, Slay on a bad knee is going to really pose a threat at this point.
He's got a brand new one now, though. Okay, so Lucas, what you're saying is you would like a better show.
Yeah.
That's the same thing I'm saying. I would like a better show. I think it's time to usher her in.
So you're doing what this one person is doing, where he's saying, man, we could tell it's July in sports. Also, what an idiot. Go ahead. Come up with an idea. What's a better show?
T-shirt cannon, but inside the T-shirt, bowling balls. Give everyone in the crowd these super glue gloves. See who can catch the bowling ball. Better halftime show. Prove me wrong.
Should we do that with you?
I don't want to catch it. I want to shoot them. Paper airplane races. Better halftime show.
Jason Fitz to talk hot dog eating next. Welcome back to the show, fueled by Hattie B's Hot Chicken. 615-737-1045 is the number if you want to get involved. Jason Fitz, Yahoo Sports, Fox Sports Radio. I think that's about the only places that Fitzy is doing work for right now. In fact, he's going to be saddled with me for the next 3 days on Fox Sports Radio. What is it, 5 to 8 a.m. the next 2 days, Fitzy, and then 4 to 8 a.m. our time here on Saturday, where they have they've sent in the B team, or are we the C team? I'm not quite sure, to make sure that there is at least programming on the air. How we living, bud?
Well, what are you talking about? They're sending in like the A team. They looked around and they're like, you know what? We've got this dynamic duo out of Nashville that we need to make sure the whole country hears. So they're putting us, come on now, let's go. Like Batman, Robin. Unfortunately, because you're bigger than I am, you get the Batman suit and I'm stuck in the Robin suit. But man, I don't know that Robin's ever looked better than he's going to look the next 3 mornings. I mean, you got me bright and early. You're still going to be coming out from a rager. I'm going to be trying to figure out how to get my old man 8 hours of sleep each time.
It's okay. We're going to find a way to get through these things together. We're always happy to have Fitzy as a part of the show, and we'll get to some hot dog eating content a little later, because he has in years past been a part of ESPN's televised broadcast of the July 4th hot dog eating contest, because of course that's what Fitzy's expertise would be in. But Lucas happened to catch one of your YouTube shows on Yahoo, and he said that you have some very strong thoughts on Cam Ward and the level of overrated or underratedness about the number 1 overall pick selected this year by the Tennessee Titans.
Well, not really overrated or underratedness. Shout out to Buck, who did not watch any of Fitz's and does not watch any of Fitz's content.
You don't know that.
But most overlooked number 1 pick at quarterback.
Most overlooked.
Fitz since who?
I think ever. He's the most overlooked first overall pick at quarterback ever. And this is what blows my mind. Now, part of it is because the Titans as an organization don't move the needle nationally. And I've never hidden this. Like, people think there's an anti-Titans narrative. There isn't. What there is just an acceptance of clicks. And so when I worked at ESPN, we understood that, hey, if you were going to come in and burn a segment on the Titans, you weren't going to get great ratings. That's just being real. You know, like, it's the same thing now when we sit there and we say, okay, what are we going to talk about? Well, we're all in an engagement business. So you talk about what the broadest set of the audience cares the most about. The Titans as an organization typically aren't that. But when you've got the first overall pick and you've got a quarterback at the first overall pick, this isn't an offensive lineman. Like, this is a quarterback. I'm a little stunned, and I think it speaks to the fact that, you know, right now Cam Ward's going to live somewhat invisibly. The one thing I would say, though, Buck, and I think you guys can appreciate this, if you spend any time with Cam, you understand, like, he likes that. He doesn't really want to be the guy that's on the side of a box of Wheaties, right? Like, he's not that sort of I crave attention personality. So I would argue that Nashville, because it's off the radar and because he's not going to walk into Frothy Monkey and be the biggest star that was in there that day, like, at some point, I think you have to look at it and say, okay, that might be the best situation for Cam to thrive. So there's opportunity. But yeah, right now, completely forgot.
And it's almost an ideal situation, because you have worked here locally, and obviously you have done stuff nationally, whether it be for Fox, Yahoo, or ESPN. So you understand the two dynamics, right? Because locally, they want Cam to be a star. They want the world to appreciate Cam as a star. They are furious here because he is the nationally televised broadcast that Cam Ward will be a part of, will be preseason week 3 on NBC, a 7 p.m. preseason game against the Minnesota Vikings here in Nashville in an active construction site, which is next to the new Nissan Stadium. That's as close as he's going to get to the spotlight, unless the NFL actually flexes the Titans into a slot, which, I mean, I guess stranger things have happened, but I can't imagine a world where a television network looks around at the Titans in week 15 or 16 and says, all right, let's do it, boys. Let's pull the trigger. Let's get Cam Ward on primetime. This is just, it's a difficult balance, Fitzy, because these people just want to know what he eats for breakfast every morning and what his morning wake-up routine is, like these social media videos that go viral, whereas the rest of the world could frankly give a damn.
Part of this, though, so let's look at the quarterbacks that have worked. And frankly, I talk about this all the time, but the thought of, hey, we're going to suck so much that we get the first overall pick. That's what every team wants when you're really bad. But look at the best quarterbacks in the NFL, the most winning quarterbacks in the NFL right now. I mean, Joe Burrow was the number 1 overall pick, sure. But was Lamar Jackson the number 1 overall pick? Was Josh Allen the number 1 overall pick? Was Patrick Mahomes the number 1 overall pick? Was Justin Herbert? Was Jalen Hurts? Just keep going up and down the list. Like, the thing of it is, because I hear you from Titans fan standpoint, but I guess I'd also challenge, when did we all become elementary school kids? Like, the worry about getting respect is earned. So, like, if you're sitting here saying, well, they should pay attention to us, damn it. Okay, well, this is a win-win proposition for Titans fans. If the Titans stink and Cam Ward's no good, then, hey, being off the radar is better than being afraid to turn on the TV on Monday morning because all they're going to do is make fun of your favorite team. If he is great, well, guess what? Over the course of the next 2, 3, 4 years, the entire world will fall in love with the Titans, and it will prove itself on the field. So I don't know why everybody, every fan base, every year comes in and says, we demand we get respect. It's like, why? I mean, if you are a national pundit watching right now, watching the AFC, why should you care about the Titans compared to every other story that happens in the AFC? Why should you care? The answer is you shouldn't. But if Cam Ward comes in and he's lights out and he has the best rookie season we've seen, if it's Jaden Daniels, like Jaden Daniels is so good that we actually talked about the Commanders as a football team and not the Commanders as a dysfunctional organization. It all happened from one player. Sure, that can happen if Cam Ward is great. But I guess my pushback to Titans fans would be like, why not wait until he's great and then worry about whether or not you're getting the proper respect instead of demanding it before you've even thrown a punch with him?
Jason Fitz of Yahoo Sports and Fox Sports Radio is here with us on 104.5 The Zone. You can hear Fitzy with me tomorrow from 5 to 8 a.m. locally, tomorrow and Friday, and 4 to 8 a.m. on Saturday, right here on 104.5 The Zone, which is a Fox Sports Radio affiliate.
So
it is.
Besides the fact that he's overlooked and he has that advantage of not having the microscope on him that maybe he would in New York or L.A. or wherever, it seems like you and your partner Frank Schwab and the whole crew at Inside Coverage with Yahoo Sports seems to really be bought into Cam Ward. Why is that? Why are you in on Cam Ward as the Titans' potential next franchise quarterback?
I think, look, a couple of things. Number one, he was clearly the best quarterback in this year's draft. And because everybody wanted to compare this year's draft to last year's draft, I think we sort of jaded that. I would also say go back and watch. Part of my caution with Cam Ward coming into the draft process was, look at how great he was in fourth quarter comebacks, big moments late in games, but then look early in games, and he's part of the reason that dug themselves into that hole. But I think you have to really look at the entirety of the body of work and then ask yourself, did he have much around him that was helping him? And no, he was still able to make all of the plays off schedule that you need to be able to make, which I think is part of modern football, but also the ability to do the simple things. One of the best draft analysts I talked to leading into last year's draft said is the problem with Caleb Williams is he does remarkable things and makes it look easy, but he didn't have to do the remarkable thing. Go back and watch the tape. He didn't take the easy throws that were there for him in his last year at USC. I would argue we saw some of that rear its ugly head in Chicago. That's not Cam Ward. Like, Cam Ward is capable of making on-schedule throws and off-schedule throws. And I think that has to be part of this conversation. It's not just, oh, my God, can he bail you out? It's, hey, this is the 8-yard play that's in front of him. Can he do it? He does that. I mean, he's going to have to speed up his release. He's going to have to speed up his read. Some of those things we all know is going to happen. But man, I think it's unfair to put him in this basket of he lives in the sea of suck because he wouldn't have been as highly recruited or as highly touted a prospect as Jaden or Caleb was last year. That's fair, but I mean, my God, would he have been a higher recruited prospect, regarded prospect than J.J. McCarthy? Yes, absolutely, 100%. Is J.J. McCarthy part of the reason the Vikings fans think they're going to go to the playoffs this year? Yes, 100%. So I feel like the problem it's not that Cam Ward in my mind is walking in and he's the next great quarterback. I just think that he got swept up into a narrative that he's not good enough by no fault of his own.
Are you concerned about his situation? Understanding the organization and some of the dysfunction with the Titans, but also this new path they're kind of setting out on with Mike Borgonzi as the general manager and draft developer Tane. They're going to be a young team trying to build out from the ground up. What is your concern level and what Cam Ward will be surrounded by this year to put him in the best position to succeed?
On a scale of 1 to 10, it's 1,000. Look, I think the Titans organization is more likely to fail Cam Ward than Cam Ward is to fail the Titans organization. It's just true. And the same thing I said when Trevor Lawrence was drafted. Trevor, a much more regarded prospect, I understand. But when you watch Trevor Lawrence come in, you thought, man, the Jags need to not screw this up. And what have the Jags done systematically over and over and over again? They've screwed it up. My problem is right now, outside looking in on the Titans, it's certainly a revolving door at this point. And anytime you have different people on different timelines, I get nervous. And what I mean by that is I want a GM that picked a coach and together they picked a quarterback so that they are all on the same timeline from the minute they walk in. If you look at Shanahan and John Lynch in San Francisco, when they first got there, they were given 6-year deals, which at the time was unprecedented. People questioned it, but part of it was because you needed two guys with runway at the same time. My issue with the Titans is that now you have a new GM yet again. And if you just look at the hiring cycle, instead of looking at GM versus coach, which I think the organization has forced the fan base to do, you got to look at it like a great 80s tag team. I want a great coach and a great GM that are working together on the same page. And right now, there's absolutely no proof of concept that really exists in Tennessee. When you have a revolving door now, if it's not successful, if they only win 3 games this year, then everybody's going to turn around and say, well, Callahan's a problem. And, the current administration didn't pick him, so they pick another coach. And now all of a sudden you've wasted a year. So just like Caleb Williams felt like he was walking into dead man walking with Eberflus as his head coach in Chicago, I think systematically when you look at the organization, you're requiring patience from Amy Adams Strunk. Have they ever proven that that's there? You're requiring that the coach and the GM be on the same page. We have no proof of concept that exists. And you want a coach that can step in and suddenly maximize everything that he has. And frankly, right now, after 1 year, we have no proof of concept that exists either. So now you got a young quarterback coming in with a coach that may or may not be a great head coach, with a GM that may or may not like that head coach, with an owner that may or may not be patient. What part of that screams success to anybody?
No, I mean, I think you could look at their last couple of years and see exactly what kind of success or lack thereof it bears out. But I think there's nothing wrong with remaining hopeful about Cam Ward helping to overcome whatever level of dysfunction that they've brought unto themselves. Jason Fitz here with us on 104.5 The Zone. You can see him on Yahoo and all their digital properties. Fitzy, if I gave you all 32 NFL teams and asked you who had the most interesting offseason, most compelling, however you want to define interesting, unto your terms, which NFL team are you having to sit there and stare at the longest and be like, I don't know exactly what to do with them, or I am completely captivated by them? There are so many different things floating around here, and I know Pittsburgh's in the news here recently, but is there one that supersedes that to you?
Well, I think Pittsburgh probably is the most interesting because of the name brand recognition that they got. But you and I have talked about this, Buck. I think the Steelers are going to get off to a hot start, and then they hit the meat of their schedule, and this thing's going to fall apart. I don't think that there's a lot of reason to believe that the Steelers are going to be great this year. They've made a lot of big moves, but we're not playing Madden. I will say, I know everybody knows my Raiders fandom. If you have to look at the most interesting team in the league, I think the Raiders are amongst the most interesting because they brought in a coach that is certainly not a spring chicken, although I would remind the entire listening audience that if you have a problem with Pete Carroll's age, let's remember the last 2 people, no matter how you politically affiliate, that we've elected to run the United States of America, were older at the time of their election than Pete Carroll is today. So if you can run the free world older than Pete Carroll, you can run a football team. But when you combine that with the highest paid offensive coordinator in the NFL and Chip Kelly and Geno Smith coming over as quarterback and Ashton Genty in the draft, I think the Raiders offense has become particularly interesting to a lot of gamblers, a lot of fantasy football people. I don't think it's a great football team this year, but it makes for an interesting conversation. And then the other thing that's interesting is, frankly, Minnesota won 14 games last year with the quarterback that everybody's given up on. And now they're going to trust that a quarterback we didn't see throw a lot in college truly is as great as Harbaugh tells us he is, even though he hasn't played a lick of NFL football and he lost a ton of weight as he recovered from 2 knee procedures. So I think Minnesota going all in without a safety net on J.J. McCarthy will end up being one of the most interesting stories in the NFL this year.
You interviewed Garrett Nussmeier recently, the LSU quarterback. I don't know how many other interviews you're doing to that effect. By the way, where can people find those?
Out on the Yahoo app and also on YouTube. If you look at Yahoo Sports, it's all out there. So, yeah, I talked to Garrett yesterday. So,
Robert will drop those links into our live stream chat for the audience that wants to check those things out there. And, of course, you can subscribe to Yahoo Sports on YouTube and see all the great work that Fitzy and company are doing. I guess, how was the Nussmeier conversation to you, and where do you kind of see the landscape of college quarterbacking right now? Because it is an interesting, I know preseason is what it is, and there will be many different football games to play out that will impact all of this stuff and completely change whatever narratives we are propping up at this point in time. But how do you feel about the current state of college football quarterbacking?
It's interesting because Nussmeier, obviously chose not to transfer. We talked a lot about that decision. But you're talking about a coach's kid that's been around college football for a long time in one system. I think he's going to have a good amount of success this year because he's comfortable. He's comfortable in his own skin. He's going into a year with a lot of expectations that he seems really ready for. All of these things stack up together. We like proof of concept in quarterbacks. That's why I have to caution. I mean, I saw Feinbaum going on and on about Arch Manning yesterday, and I guess I would just ask everybody, do we believe that Sark is a clueless, terrible football coach? Because I think if you watched Texas football last year, you realized, especially once Quinn Ewers was down and out with a bunch of injuries, he no longer had any mobility. And it certainly felt like in a couple of the close games and the playoff loss for Texas, they could have used some mobility and help at quarterback, but they weren't comfortable putting Arch in. So it's interesting to me that we've just anointed Arch Manning as the Heisman whatever, and he's going to be the first overall pick. And I'm sitting here saying, man, again, like, okay, so Arch is going to play this year for the first time. We don't even know if he's going to come out after this year. He's going to play another year of college football. We don't know how good he actually is when he gets on the field. So I think the most overblown is Arch, and that's where it gets really, really interesting because, you know, between Garrett Nussmeier and Cole Klubnik, somebody that 1 year he's a bum and the next year he's great. And then it's like, no, he's going to really ascend this year. Like, I think it's interesting that we're waiting for a quarterback to really step up and become him throughout the course of this season.
Not just Heisman contender fits from Paul Feinbaum, but the best college football quarterback we have seen since Tim Tebow entered the scene back in 2006, which I think we could have that discussion about quarterbacks that maybe were better than Tim Tebow since 2006. But besides the point, that feels like the most overinflated take we've seen so far coming from Paul Feinbaum about Arch Manning. But if you had to ride with one of the two for a Heisman run, are we to take that you're riding with Nussmeier because we've seen more of a sample size?
I mean, I'm one of those cautious sort of investors, right? Like, so if I got to invest in somebody that has great name recognition but didn't get on the field when they needed him on a Texas team that's always back but never back, I'm not comfortable with that bet. In a million different ways, I'm not comfortable with that bet. I'm more comfortable with Nussmeier for sure, simply because there's some familiarity, and also, like, Paul's a great dude. The first time I ever met Paul Feinbaum, I was at the SEC Network, also ESPNU headquarters, and there was no green room left to change in, right? So, like, the guys were all using the green room. I was the newbie, so I just walked into the bathroom. The minute my pants hit the floor, I'm just, pants down. Paul Feinbaum walks into the men's room, and he just looks at me. He's like, "Hey, I'm Paul." So, like, I've known Paul for a long time. The first time I met him, I didn't have any pants on. That, to me, is less shocking than hearing Paul say that this is the best quarterback since Tim Tebow. I mean, Paul was 5 feet from me on the sidelines watching Joe Burrow and his year of absolute excellence. I don't know how you can look at that year of Joe Burrow and then just suddenly anoint Arch Manning is better than that today. Like, that just, it feels like maybe Paul's been partying with Snoop too much, which I'm jealous of, but I'm not buying it.
He caught the first take bug, Paul Feinbaum did. A wonderful human being, though. 4th of July week, obviously, the hot dog eating contest is upon us. Where does that rank for you in terms of things that you miss doing? Is it the hot dog eating contest on ESPN or performing on stage with the band Perry at multiple stadiums and arenas across the country?
I never cared about, biggest crowd we ever played with the band was 110,000 people in Hyde Park. And I remember so vividly walking off that stage after, I ran to the end of the ego ramp and played my solo and came back and we walked off stage and I was like, all right, where the hell are we going tomorrow? Like, it was such a whirlwind. I was lucky for that ride. No, I've never done anything on TV that I've been more recognized for than there are two things that stand out. SportsCenter on Snapchat, which I helped to originate at ESPN, got every kid in an airport for 3 years stopped me, which was crazy to me. I did, 3.5 million kids watch that show every day. But then the next most recognized I've ever been for anything was the dang hot dog eating contest. And the first year I did it was COVID, so there were no people allowed, and there was no music, and there was no crowd. And I'm telling y'all, the sound that Joey Chestnut makes as he gorges that many words can't describe this thing that happens. And it was so distracting that the eaters next to Joey, you could see their stomachs start to churn because you don't usually hear it because you're usually out in the open. We were in close quarters and they're using me as a sideline reporter. I'm standing 3 feet from it, just getting sprayed with hot dog residue. And I hear that gagging, and there's a smell to it. There's a smell, but I will tell your bettors that humidity matters. That's the one thing you have to know. If you are a degenerate like I am, humidity matters. The more humid it gets, the more sticky the hot dogs get. And the longer it takes them to get them out to the table, the more likely they are to be sticky, which makes it harder for the guys to absolutely crush themselves. So look at the weather. If the weather is beautiful, if it's a little chilly and there's no humidity in the air, then Joey's going to he's going to glizzy gladiator like we've never seen. If there's a little bit of humidity in the air, it'll slow him down.
Incredible.
Yeah. You're welcome.
He is Jason Fitz, man of many talents. He is going to be babysitting me for the next 3 days on Fox Sports Radio, 5 to 8 a.m. Thursday and Friday, Saturday, 4 to 8 a.m. Buddy, what the hell are we going to talk about the next 3 days?
Gagging on glizzy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, there it is.
I mean,
it's going to live forever.
I'm trying to get kicked off the air before I'm ever. There we go.
Fitzy, thank you for the time. I'll talk to you tomorrow bright and early.
Appreciate you. Have a great day. Can't wait to see you early in the morning. Bring some. Tell the world about your door dashing of elite coffee too while you're doing it. You elitist, you snob.
Get out of here. That's Jason.
The world already knows.
I was about to say, if anybody knows how snobby I am, it's the local radio audience. I did Uber Eats an $18 coffee to the studio in the 6 o'clock hour on Saturday.
It's bad decision making.
What, you have thoughts back there? That's what I thought. I'm Buck Rising. It's 104.5 The Zone. Yes. 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 Imagine noises like the one that Jason Fitz just made exist in the SEC dungeon.
Grotesque.
It's your thing.
Assault. Auditory assault.
You came
is
up
what
with
this
it.
segment is.
Wasn't the SEC dungeon your idea?
The thing that I have thoroughly tried, it made every effort to try and take off the air and prevent from playing. Yes.
Other than me.
Other than you. We are going to start, as we are inside 60 days before the start of the college football season. SEC Media Days is in 2 weeks down in Atlanta. And we are set to start our team preview, a series of team previews. We're going to go alphabetically. Next week, we're going to start with Alabama. But today, we're going to talk a little Cruton, because there's been a lot of momentum for Tennessee over the course of the last week. I believe it's 7 commitments for Tennessee in the class of 2026 since the weekend, including yesterday, a 4-star duo out of Jackson, Mississippi from the same program, and defensive lineman Darian Albert and linebacker TJ White. And Tennessee moves up to number 12 in the 247 Sports team recruiting rankings for the class of 2026. So obviously, the shining jewel headliner of that class is 5-star quarterback Faison Brandon, who, if we look at 247 Sports, is ranked as the number 1 overall player in the country for that class. Tennessee moved from number 22 in the class of 2026 up to number 12 in the country just yesterday alone, moving up 10 spots. So they're slowly moving up the boards here. As far as the SEC teams that are behind, it is Georgia, Texas A&M, and Alabama. So Tennessee currently has a top 4 class in the conference, ahead of Texas and ahead of LSU. Obviously, there are months to go. There are 5 stars that Tennessee is in on, including 5-star receiver Tristan Keys, who's currently committed to LSU but keeps tweeting about Tennessee on his social media, congratulating commitments to Tennessee. And this feels like a hugely important class. I'm going to say the most important recruiting class of the Josh Heupel era, because recruiting has been good under Josh Heupel. It's been good. But there is going to come a pivot point in the Heupel era where we, of course, acknowledge that he's the guy that has turned Tennessee football around, has made them relevant, has got them back to winning 10 games in multiple seasons, to beating Alabama, to beating Florida. Understand all these things, but there will come a point where you reach that crossroads where it's, okay, when is being relevant no longer good enough? At what point do you start demanding actual championship contention for Tennessee football? Because that's something that they have not done yet. Gotten to the place where they are considered bona fide, legitimate national championship contenders. They've gotten back to relevance, but have run into walls like Georgia and Ohio State that have shown that gap. And that gap comes in talent disparity. Top 10, top 15 classes are fine. Top 3, top 5 classes are what win you national championships, even in this era, where there is no guarantee these guys will be even on campus in 2 years. And it's incredibly volatile. Talent acquisition at the highest level is still what wins you championships in college football, where Michigan is the exception, not the rule. The one program that won a national championship despite not stacking top 3 recruiting classes one on top of the other. So there's a lot of momentum here in the class of 2026. And I say it's the most important class of the Heupel era because he has this 5-star gem to build around in Faison Brandon. And if that can't help other big-time prospects fall in line to get up to that level that you need to be at, recruiting alongside Georgia and, in the case of 2026, USC, who's at the top of those rankings, then it's hard to imagine you're going to get there in the Heupel era. And it's been, every time Tennessee gets committed, sunshine and rainbows, great. And I don't want to be a pessimist, but I also, over the years, have been like, okay, that's fine. Like, that's good, but it's not great. And
it's
at what point is it not good enough?
It's realism. Like that, you are, that, many things, but I respect the way that you approach that in particular because it's just realistic. Now, you've had to go through some trauma in your life as a Vols fan, as everybody within the sound of our voice that's Vols fans has gone through over these last 5 years have been appreciably better, but the 12 to 13 prior to that were an unmitigated hell for most of you. So I think that is the proper approach. If you are really and truly aspiring to national championship contention, like not even just it's good enough to make the playoff, because it's a different kind of conversation. It's kind of like the argument that you and I had about with the Pittsburgh Steelers a couple of years ago, making the playoffs. Are they a Super Bowl contender if they are in fact contending for a Super Bowl, right? That's kind of how I viewed Tennessee last year, and how I think a lot of people, it still matters, right? It's like making the Sweet 16 in college basketball. It's still an accomplishment. It's still a feather in your cap, but it does not accomplish the ultimate goal. And this is the definitive factor in breaking through, not that football glass ceiling that Tennessee keeps bumping up against, which is recruiting at an elite level. And it doesn't have to be. No one program is going to dominate it the way that Nick Saban did for 10 years, basically, as he was stacking 5-star after 5-star at Alabama. Now it's never been more wide open. Tennessee has as many assets at their disposal as I would argue any program in the country. You disagree?
Yeah, no, I would agree. I would disagree with the idea that there's not a program recruiting as consistently as Nick Saban. Georgia has done that year over year over year. There are
questions. Still recruits at a high level, too.
But not to that level. Yeah. Georgia consistently, I don't know that Georgia has ever finished with a class outside of the top 3 in the 247 sports recruiting rankings in the Kirby Smart era. Okay, they finished 4th in 2021. Top 3, top 5. That's the level you have to be at to consistently be in that conversation, unless you catch that lightning in a bottle. But you have to be at that level to get into that discussion. I have no interest in talking about Tennessee as a national championship contender until they're at that level in terms of their talent profile. So, all that to say, they've had a ton of momentum within the last week, and it has to keep going with prospects like Tristan Keys and Savion Hyder to get us even to the place where we can reasonably talk about Tennessee being in a championship window. The window that they're in right now is fantastic. It's great. They're relevant. They're winning. But championship window, that's an even harder hump to get over. And so we'll see if they can keep the momentum.
615-737-1045 is the number. If they call that number next, Robert, and they give us their dumbest thing in sports, what can they win?
They are going to get 2 tickets to see Coheed and Cambria with Taking Back Sunday at Ascend Amphitheater on September 3rd. Have either of you guys heard of them?
I feel like I've heard one song. Like I know that band. That's from like the Warped Tour years. Do you guys ever do Warped Tour?
I don't know what you're talking
Do
about.
we ever do Warped Tour?
You're not familiar with Warped Tour?
Supremely unfamiliar.
Okay. Well, it's like a traveling music festival, but it's a lot of, Taking Back Sunday, Coheed and Cambria. I think Shinedown probably would have been a part of Warped Tour. Like those kind of acts. You get into like Breaking Benjamin and all the like those kind of like teen angsty VH1 early 2000s 7 a.m. music video type of thing. Yellow Card, those kind of bands play Warped Tour. I don't know if Warped Tour is still a thing, but it was when I was in high school.
Cambria is a great font, but not aware of the band.
Well, you can win 2 tickets to that event at Ascend Amphitheater if you give us the dumbest thing in sports this week next.
11:01. Good morning from the 104.5 The Zone studios. I'm Lucas Panzica. Tennessee football picked up some recruiting momentum Tuesday, including a four-star duo out of Jackson, Mississippi, and defensive lineman Darian Albert and linebacker T.J. White. Tennessee is up to number 12 in the 247 Sports recruiting rankings. The Nashville Predators made a signing on Tuesday, bringing in former Lightning defenseman Nick Perbix on a 2-year deal worth $2.75 million annually. The U.S. men's national team plays the Gold Cup semifinal tonight, taking on Guatemala for a spot in the final. Kickoff at 6 p.m. from St. Louis. For all your foundation repairs and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
It most certainly is for the opportunity to win those Coheed and Cambria tickets, as well as who else is playing? Taking Back Sunday, is that who you said is a part of the show at Ascend Amphitheater?
Yes, and Terrible Decisions will be opening for them.
Is that real? That's the name of a band, Terrible Decisions? It's a pretty good band name.
I made it up.
Okay, that sounds about right. But those other two bands will be partaking in the fun at Ascend Amphitheater. 615-737-1045 is the number. If you want to get involved, we'll get to your phone calls on that shortly. The two of you are being dragged for not knowing what Warped Tour is by the chat.
I did not
care.
know.
The chat wanted more of a heel turn from you after your unpopular Red Panda opinion today, so I almost goaded you into getting involved in that Fitz conversation by propping up your Cam Ward fake tough guy take that you had a couple of weeks ago when it was just you and me, but I didn't feel like burying you this early in the show.
It's okay. There was enough Cam Ward love going on in that conversation.
That's Sophie Cunningham in the background, who we will hear from here shortly.
Hey, keep it down back there, lady.
Yeah. All right. So my dumbest thing in sports this week is Sophie Cunningham, who is one of the stars of the Indiana Fever. She's been the enforcer for women who are roughing up Caitlin Clark in these games. And she is not a fan of the WNBA's expansion. Now, she is pro-Nashville in this audio, but her explanation didn't really make sense to me. Let's hear from Sophie Cunningham yesterday at the Fever's media availability.
Because it is it's women level. You just get more there's more opportunities, and so I get that aspect. But I also think that you want to listen to your players too. Like where do they want to play? Where are they going to get excited to play and draw?
This audio is buffering.
Okay, that's fine. So basically her point is players are not going to be excited to play in Philadelphia, Detroit, and Cincinnati. Not Cincinnati. Where are they expanding to? Philadelphia, Detroit, and Cleveland. Philadelphia, Detroit, and Cleveland is where the WNBA is expanding to. Here's the quote. Like, where do they want to play? Where are they going to get excited to play and draw fans? I think Miami would have been a great one. Everyone loves Florida. Nashville is an amazing city. Kansas City, amazing opportunity. There's a huge arena downtown that no one's using. I'm not so sure what the thought process is there. I mean, the thought process is there. It's cheaper for the WNBA to be co-opted by NBA franchises who already have existing infrastructure that can support both an NBA team and a WNBA team, not as much as where the players want to play or live. And also Kansas City. Sophie, respectfully, I know what Indianapolis, Indiana looks like. Nobody want to live in Indianapolis, Indiana. Like, you have the best player in the world in your sport. That's why you're a draw. If you're good, people will gravitate towards your thing. It's like if Nashville got a baseball team, would people go? Probably not if they're not good. People don't go to the Titans games when they're not good. The Preds suck. People don't go to the Preds games. This is not an issue about the logistics or the placement of these teams, it's about, can you be good enough to gauge interest and then build upon that momentum afterwards? I didn't understand the logic.
I'm going to keep it in the WNBA because I don't know if you saw this.
Well, Robert had thoughts first.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
No, go on.
He
I
doesn't see me.
desperately need the two of you to be able to see one another, so you stop cutting each other off.
We can, and we didn't cut each other off, but go ahead, Robert.
No, you cut him off because you didn't see him getting ready to speak in front of the microphone.
Yeah, if I was going to listen to Sophie's Choice, I'd just watch Meryl Streep.
I've never seen that movie.
Worth a watch. Worth a watch. Anything with Meryl Streep in it.
I have a lot of movies to catch up on this weekend, apparently.
What's the best Meryl Streep movie?
Devil Wears Prada.
That's just
Gotta
the only
be.
one you know.
Yeah.
Nah, she's got better ones.
She's got, I don't know. The Devil Wears Prada is a banger, man. Anyway, go ahead.
Dumbest thing in sports, keeping it in the WNBA. WNBA players voting Caitlin Clark as the 9th best guard in the league. A player vote. By the way, the Indiana Fever won the Commissioner's Cup yesterday. They did it without Caitlin Clark.
You've been dealing with a groin injury.
Yep, out with a groin injury. But they came out. They won the first ever Commissioner's Cup, 74-59, the final against the Minnesota Lynx, the in-season championship for the WNBA. So there's a big celebration, Instagram Live with the celebration in the locker room, all these things. But Caitlin Clark voted as the 9th best guard in the league. I will not pretend to be a WNBA expert. I will not pretend like I can sit here and name all the best guards in the WNBA. I do know she was Rookie of the Year last year, that she's been an All-Star 2 years now, and that she was an All-WNBA first-teamer last year and led the league in assists. That sounds to me better than 9th best guard in the league, not just by name, by what she's done on the court. So the pettiness and jealousness from WNBA players
real.
against Caitlin Clark is so real, and that takes it to a whole other level.
Do you see the way Dick Vitale went at WNBA players who voted on that yesterday? He tweeted yesterday, "It's absurd."
No, do it in his voice.
Yeah, you have to.
It's absurd.
I don't think that's sustainable. My voice doesn't feel great anyway, and I've got 3 more days of radio to do.
God, I
We're not
wish I
doing
had the
that.
quote.
Do it,
I'd
you
do it for
coward.
you.
It is absurd the way
Coward.
that a number of players in the WNBA have treated Caitlin Clark! So sad, but I bet they love the charter flights, the increase in salaries, the crowds, the TV ratings since she arrived from Iowa women's basketball. No doubt she is the best thing to happen to the WNBA.
Best. The way they're treating her is dookie, baby.
What's your dumbest thing in sports?
My dumbest thing in sports is I have been bamboozled. I have been run off the road by the card companies of America. Are you guys familiar with a grab bag in terms of sports cards?
No.
So when I went to, if you're on Zone TV, I'll show it to you right now. I went to BJ's this weekend. I'm looking at some stuff, and BJ's generally has a pretty good card selection. So when I go there, I see this 10 with my beloved quarterback on it, Lamar Jackson. And I decided, oh, yeah, I am going to buy this 10. I don't even care what's in it. Expecting there to be some pretty decent stuff. I would like to show you what I got for $20 inside this Lamar Jackson 10. I got a Kyle Trask rookie card.
So bad.
With a piece of his jersey. Okay.
What?
All right. Yeah, it's a memorabilia set. They're kind of a thick card. Got a Kyle Trask rookie.
But a piece of his jersey is attached to the card?
Yeah, they like take a shred of it and put it in the card.
It's so weird.
I got a 2024 pack of Prestige, which is, okay, whatever. Here's where it gets kind of milky over here. A 2003 Pacific Canadian Football League football pack. That has a sticker on it that says 7-Eleven, $4.99. Well, I made $5. It's the $20 back. And 2 packs of 1991 NFL football from Score. I ask you, who the hell wants to open any of these? And I also bring this up to say, which one do you guys want to open?
The CFL one.
Okay,
Yeah, for
CFL.
sure.
There's
Are you
gotta
doing
be,
this now?
Yeah. There's got to be somebody in here we know, right?
Rip it.
All right.
I'm waiting to just be stunned by one of these names.
It feels like there are 2 cards in here. So I am fully expecting to be disappointed.
They only put 2 cards in a pack? I don't know anything about
One, two,
cards.
three, four, 5 cards in this pack, and I'm going to need some help with Googling if you guys can figure out
Go ahead.
who the hell these players are. One, Daryl Mitchell with the Toronto Argonauts. He is a slot back.
Daryl, like Daryl?
Derrell. He went to Texas Tech. Good for you, Daryl.
Next.
Mike Morale. Mike, Morreale, Morale. He went to McMaster, which I assume is a Canadian college. We got, there's no way this is his name, Nealon Green.
Neyland, like Neyland Stadium?
He went to Clemson. No, Nealon Green.
Oh, like Kevin Neyland.
God, we're going to get out of here and not know a single person.
Not a single
Charles
one.
Roberts, running back, Winnipeg Blue Bombers. This is a maximum overdrive. If anybody wants these cards, please hit me up. I'll sell them to you for a nominal fee.
Daryl Mitchell, 2-time Grey Cup champion, and had a stint on the Falcons and Bears practice squad.
Okay, I forgot these are from 2003 before I ever cared about football.
And was drafted by the Saints in 94.
Okay.
They're from 2003?
I like that.
I don't understand how these cards work.
Okay, what about Alondra Johnson?
Oh, he's a college football Hall of Famer, too. We better put some respect on.
Really? Alondra Johnson.
Did you know that off the top of your head?
Daryl Mookie Mitchell. His nickname was Mookie.
Ooh, Daryl Mookie Mitchell. Okay, well, I will keep Daryl.
Hall of Fame nickname.
I am
Mookie
going
Mitchell.
to keep that over there. And I thought you were going to say Alondra Johnson. Alondra Johnson went to West Texas State. Maybe Coach Mack knows him. So I've been bamboozled. That is my dumbest thing in sports.
Okay. I'm sorry for your card trauma. How much money do you spend on cards?
I am no longer a seeker. I am a purchaser in
What's
the card
difference?
world. So if you are a seeker, you buy packs. You are looking to get good pulls and grails and things that you can sell to then enforce your hobby more. You'll sell the cards, buy more packs in hopes that you get what you're looking for. I quit doing that. Okay. I'm not a chaser anymore. Now I will just buy the cards that I want. So generally, I don't spend a lot on packs.
Yeah, you're looking for something specific.
Like one of my grails this past weekend. There's a card show coming up in July 12th.
One of my grails
was a Ray Lewis auto, and I wanted a Ray Lewis autograph on card. I didn't want a sticker that they put on there that he signed. So I know Ray actually touched this card. Found one at the show. I think I spent $150 on it.
Nice.
Okay. Happy for you. 615-737-1045. What's the dumbest thing in sports this week? Let's start with Daniel.
Good morning. How you doing today?
Great.
All right, good deal. My dumbest thing in sports is Arizona Diamondbacks second baseman Marte was heckled in Chicago by a Chicago fan talking about his deceased mother. Put him in tears on the field, and he had to have the manager come out and console him and lead him off the field. That fan was kicked out of the game and banned from baseball.
Thank you for the call, Daniel. Remember to stay on hold for the opportunity to win those tickets. Did you see this story?
Yeah, it was terrible. And Marte's having a phenomenal season, by the way.
So his mother was killed in a car crash in the Dominican Republic in 2017. And I don't know. Did they ever find out what was actually? This is what the fan yelled at him. I sent your mom a text last night.
Yeah, that's just awful.
And I saw
fan got removed and everything, but it was terrible.
I saw some people complaining about the idea that is that worthy of a lifetime ban from baseball.
To me, it is. Yeah, get him the hell out of there.
Yeah, for what? I'm not. I understand that your mom jokes can be pretty harmless unless you're somebody who's lost a parent, and those things hit totally different. I think I saw some internet losers defending it and be and be like, oh, what we're so sensitive now we can't make your mom jokes. Yeah, not to people with dead moms.
No, yeah, get that out of here.
Hey, close.
That was close. Marte is one of the hottest players in the league.
Did you cuss?
Too. No, I was on the cusp. That's the first time I've never come close.
Was he good looking? I hadn't seen him before.
Wait, what?
What was the joke?
Over my head.
Oh, he said he was. Oh, you were like, he's hot right now in the season.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Not physically attractive.
I thought he was saying he was one of the hottest players in the league. I'm like, dude, I need to check
that
out
Marte
baseball
is so hot right now.
I mean, it depends on what your type is. I'm not sure.
I pulled a Derek Carr, if anybody was wondering.
A Derek Carr card?
Yes, a Derek Carr.
A Derek card.
A Derek card.
How quickly were we both to make that joke? All right, Zach is next.
Hey, how y'all doing?
Good.
Mine is I'm driving, so I can't pull up the article, so I forget her name. But it was I'm going back to the WNBA because it was like a game Wednesday or Thursday night last week. One of the announcers said that that's what makes America great, and then she apologized and said that she probably shouldn't say that. And it was, I don't know, she just treated making that statement was like a slur nowadays, and I just thought that was pretty dumb.
I appreciate the call, Zach. Yeah, it's Rebecca Lobo, and who is the lead play-by-play commentator? Pam. Is it Pam Ward
for WNBA games?
WNBA? I think her name is Pam Ward.
Okay, I thought Ryan Rucco.
He does a lot of
that
WNBA
stuff
games too, for sure. But I believe Pam Ward was on this game with Rebecca Lobo. Anyway, so she made a joke about that's what makes America great. I think they were talking about an officiating situation, and reasonable minds could disagree.
Yeah.
And it's not even like that. I don't even think that the joke was bad. I don't think that's why she apologized. I think Pam Ward kind of hung her out to dry a little bit because there's just this terrible, awkward silence.
There's dead air.
Just this weird, like, it didn't need to be that awkward.
Like she
And
wasn't making a political statement.
I don't think so. Like,
No.
that's not how it struck me when I saw the clip. But the reason the clip went around is because Pam Ward kind of just left her out there with it, and then she felt. I'm sure Rebecca Lobo then felt awkward, like, "Oh my God, did I do something wrong?"
Not the time to lay out.
Yeah, it
I
was
would
just
say.
it was weird. I don't
That's
know.
a good submission.
I'm sure both of them. Would wish that they had a do over on the entire situation because I don't know. It was a bit clunky.
Let's grab Anthony real quick.
What do you think I'm going to do?
Go to break.
I don't know. You were rambling, Anthony. What you got?
Oh, hey, man, I got up this morning. I'm looking through Sports Center stuff. I turned on my 104.5 to listen to sports talk and stuff and everything. And all I get to hear is something about a red freaking panda.
It's sports.
This has got to be the most. I mean, we've got all the sports and the highlights and stuff like that. And we're talking about a halftime basketball act?
That's right.
Come on, man. You can do
No, you
better.
come
I'm with
on.
Bird on this one.
Oh, you're
with
just
Bird
a
on this
red
one.
panda hater. That's all.
Well, I think Anthony's the winner.
Just a
That's what
hater.
it is. Well, I was going to say Anthony is the winner for submitting us for the dumbest thing in sports.
Which he would usually be right.
But now I do think he's just a hater of Red Panda. And
Yeah.
That's why he's upset about
Stay
it.
on the line, Anthony. I'll make sure to grab your info, and we'll get you off to this Coheed and Cambria show.
Oh, you dropped him. That's cruel.
Wait a minute, drop Daniel. Yeah,
All right.
nobody wins. Nobody
Daniel.
wins.
Robert's
You
going
didn't.
to the show.
Congratulations to Daniel. He wins the thing.
Also, what highlights? Like,
Come
what,
on,
what,
what
are we
are we going to
talking
do?
about?
Regular season baseball? Please. I'm Buck Isaac. It's 104.5 The Zone. Welcome back to the show, fueled by Hattie B's Hot Chicken, the best hot chicken in the world. So the Cumulus cluster is off tomorrow, which is normally when we tape the install with Greg Cosell. So I texted Greg yesterday, and he was kind enough to accommodate us here today. You can check out the podcast wherever it is that you get your podcasts. You can subscribe to 104.5 The Zone's YouTube channel, where you can watch full episodes there. How we living, buddy?
We're doing great, Buck. How are you?
I'm good. Just getting ready to take a little bit of a respite. I know you and I have been previewing divisions here in the last couple of weeks on the podcast and talking about the latest news. But one piece of news that we did not have the opportunity to get to in our AFC North preview, and we mentioned that this may be the case later that afternoon, Aaron Rodgers signed with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Since then, there have been a great many transactions with Pittsburgh, Greg. And I wonder, before we talk about the specifics of the players that are coming and going from Pittsburgh and then to Miami via this trade, what you kind of make of the Pittsburgh Steelers construction right now, because it just seems like a very un-Steelers-like offseason to me.
Yeah, normally, I mean, again, history suggests that the Steelers tend to be kind of deliberate in how they go about things. Obviously they've had not many head coaches. They don't make rash decisions. That's been their history. But, when you struggle to win in the playoffs year after year after year, at some point, I guess you feel like, hey, we need to take that next step. And how do we go about doing it? So they obviously signed Aaron Rodgers, and I'm sure people have many opinions about Aaron Rodgers, but he still throws the ball extremely well. The one difference with Rodgers as he's gotten older is he certainly doesn't move the way he used to, Buck, but he still throws the ball extremely well, and he's extremely intelligent. So they feel very secure at quarterback. He's absolutely an upgrade over Russell Wilson. So they feel that they've upgraded that position. As we probably discussed months ago, they traded for DK Metcalf. So they feel that they have that top 5-6 type receiver in the league, and he gives them a true vertical dimension. And then, of course, they made the big trade, which I guess was that yesterday? I believe it was yesterday.
Monday morning.
Monday? Was it Monday?
Yeah, the days blur together at this point, Greg. It was the rare trade that comes out in 3 different parts of reporting.
I know. So, the interesting thing to me is they traded for Jalen Ramsey. And based on what they have at the corner position, it seems to me he's going to be their nickel, not their starting outside corner. Now, that might change because don't forget they signed Darius Slay. I don't think they want to take Joey Porter off the field. So, this fascinates me. No one's questioning Ramsey. I mean, I've spoken to people coaches that have had Ramsey, on that team, with the teams he's been on, and they say he's obviously a great player. He's super intelligent. But when you look at Darius Slay and Joey Porter, is Ramsey going to play in their base defense? Is he only going to play in nickel? Are they going to play a lot more nickel now because Ramsey is sort of a combo, slot corner linebacker, and he's certainly big enough to be a tackler, which he's good at. So it's going to be interesting to see how they deploy him. My guess is he's not going to get a ton of snaps on the outside, but again, the Rams, when he was with the Rams, didn't use him that way much either, and he was a really, really good player. So it's really going to be intriguing how this plays out.
In that situation, though, Greg, would then Darius Slay be their other outside starting corner? Because I know you're familiar with him from his time in Philadelphia, and obviously he's been in the league for a long time now. I mean, Darius Slay has had a great career. I don't mean to shade him at all, but I think he's well past the peak of his powers. You would agree?
Yeah, although he did play really well in the playoffs, and obviously I'm sure that's one reason they signed him. They didn't know they were going to trade for Jalen Ramsey at the time they traded Darius Slay, and they clearly felt they needed a quality corner opposite Joey Porter. You can take a team like the Buffalo Bills as an example. The Buffalo Bills play nickel on a very, very high percentage of snaps. I mean, I'm talking about 95, 96, 97% of their snaps. Will this be the case with the Pittsburgh Steelers so that Jalen Ramsey Slay and Porter are always on the field. This is something we don't know the answer to. They obviously felt comfortable trading Minkah Fitzpatrick, who at his best is one of the 2 or 3 best safeties in the league, because they had signed Juan Thornhill from Cleveland, and Juan Thornhill started many games in this league, and Deshaun Elliott's the other safety. And I've spoken to coaches on teams that Deshaun Elliott was on, and they say that this kid is super intelligent. So, they feel comfortable at safety, even though they got rid of Minkah Fitzpatrick. But it would not surprise me to see this team, almost play nickel as a foundational defense.
Greg Cosell is here with us. Normally we'd do the install on Thursday mornings in your podcast feed. Greg is accommodating our holiday schedule by joining us now on the radio show.
And then there's Jonnu Smith, Greg, who's included in that package, going from Miami after a career year where he was one of the most productive tight ends in football, up to Pittsburgh, reunites him with Arthur Smith, who, of course, was his play caller here in Tennessee. Number one, how impressed were you with Jonnu Smith and what he was able to do last season? And number two, how intrigued are you to see him back with Art Smith, with Aaron Rodgers playing quarterback in Pittsburgh?
Well, now you've got another fascinating situation, Lucas, because, they played a lot of 2 and even 3 tight ends a year ago, and they have Pat Freiermuth, Darnell Washington, the big kid from Georgia, who was a 3rd-round pick. Connor Hayward played a lot of snaps. I mean, Jonnu Smith, I always liked him from when he came out of college. I mean, he's more of a movement type tight end or receiving tight end, and he can give you that for sure. So now it's going to be interesting how all that works. Someone's going to be the odd man out, and it's not going to be Freiermuth. Freiermuth is a really good football player. So, someone like Darnell Washington, who, does have really good athletic traits. He's not necessarily a great player right now, but he's a really good blocker, and he does have receiving traits. So obviously Arthur Smith knows him. I think they were 4 years together, if memory serves me correctly, in Nashville. So, Arthur Smith clearly knows Jonnu Smith and what his strengths and limitations are. But this becomes another really interesting dynamic as to how they work in Smith, who they clearly are going to work in. It's not as if he's not going to play, but they've got a pretty complete tight end room. Someone's going to be the odd man out.
Greg, I completely forgot about the existence of Darnell Washington. You bring up that name, just absolute freak of nature coming out of Georgia. Felt like he was such an intriguing prospect, and there he is in a stacked tight end room.
Yeah, I mean, so, either they're disappointed in Washington. I mean, Connor Hayward's different. He was a 6th-round pick. I don't mean that. That means he's just disposable, because he did get meaningful snaps a year ago and made some plays for the Steelers. But, Darnell Washington, I remember being at the Combine. He put up huge Combine numbers. Obviously, he was a 3rd-round pick, not a higher pick, just because he was a raw kid, but he's a really good blocker. There's receiving traits there, to be cultivated. So, again, this is, look, it's in their mind, they probably have an embarrassment of riches, and every team would like to be in that situation. There's certainly going to be, the O-line's going to be interesting, because Rodgers doesn't move as well, and Broderick Jones is now going to be the left tackle, and he has not been very good in 2 years in the league, playing mostly right tackle. So they're going to play Troy Fautanu, who was a rookie a year ago and didn't play at all during the season, who was a left tackle at the University of Washington. They're moving him to right tackle. So to me, the tackle position is a question mark as we sit here and speak early in July.
I was reading some of the Steelers reporters' insights on this, and I don't know if you're familiar with Mark Caboli, Greg, but
I know he is for sure.
He tweeted out, "What I have been told is the Steelers view Jonnu Smith as a tight end, a slot wide receiver, and a fullback. They will use him in a very hybrid way in Arthur Smith's offense." And I know what that looks like, because I've seen Art and Jonnu work together. I know exactly what that deployment looks like. Yeah. But what immediately popped into my mind, Greg, is, well, yeah, but Aaron Rodgers is the quarterback, and what if he doesn't like Jonnu Smith's role in that offense? That's probably the most difficult thing to kind of parse at this point. And maybe Rodgers is going to be more of a good soldier that way and go along with what they want to run as an offense. But I just assumed any team that brings in Aaron Rodgers is also importing the Aaron Rodgers offense.
You are, to some extent. I remember talking to a coach who'd been in the league for 35 years, really well-respected coach, and he always talked about great veteran quarterbacks who've been in the league a long time, and obviously with the best resumes you could possibly have. Rodgers will be a first-ballot Hall of Famer. But he was speaking to me about Peyton Manning, and he said, once Peyton Manning, when he got to Denver, he was already a Hall of Famer based on what he'd done in Indianapolis. He said, if you're the OC, you're essentially running Peyton Manning's offense. You have ideas and there's some things you can work in, but you're essentially running Peyton Manning's offense. So it's going to be interesting with Arthur Smith. You guys know him. I've met him, but I certainly don't know him. He certainly has an offense that he wants to run. I don't know if that's what Aaron Rodgers is comfortable with or not. You have to make, some concessions to a quarterback like Aaron Rodgers because he's got to feel comfortable with everything. That's why you bring him in. You're not bringing him in to force feed an offense that he's not comfortable with. Now, I'm not saying he is or isn't comfortable with what Arthur Smith's going to do, but that's more a marriage than it is, hey, you're going to run my offense.
For sure. And understandably so. A player the caliber of Rodgers, even at age 41, is somebody who has to be, you have to acclimate, and that's what the best coaches do, right? Callahan's talked about this with us. You don't prioritize your scheme over your talent. If you're a good enough coach, you make it work with the players that you got. Greg Cosell of NFL Films is here with us. We're doing a live version of the install since we will not be available to tape tomorrow morning at our regularly scheduled time, or at least I won't. Fortunate for us, Greg was able to adjust. So with that said, Greg, Miami is on the other side of this thing, and Minkah Fitzpatrick heads down there. Miami's transaction that would at least seem to address their tight end need that Jonnu creates was to bring Darren Waller out of retirement. But let's start with Minkah. What is a fair analysis of Minkah Fitzpatrick? Because he doesn't seem to be a player that is on the backside of his career, but I forget how long he's in the league, and he's also somebody who is deployed in a variety of different roles within that Pittsburgh Steelers defense.
Yeah, he's been mostly a safety with the Steelers. Early in his career with Miami, he played some slot corner. He'll be a safety. Look, at his best, I didn't study him as an individual in great detail, so I did read someone say that they didn't think he had his best season, but I would say at his best, he's a top 2 safety in the league. He's kind of what they call a 5-tool safety. He can do everything when he's at his best. So, this is a team that their back end is really problematic as we speak right now. Miami, you look at the corner position, you don't even really know. I mean, right now, if you just look as I am, because it's July, and I'm not up on every team's depth chart as of now because there's changes and there'll be more changes. Right now, they have listed as the starting outside corners, Kader Kohu and Storm Duck, and they have Artie Burns as the nickelback. Yeah. And they brought in Melifonwu from Detroit to be one safety, and now Minkah will be the other safety. But if you just look at the corner position, those are major questions. No one would know how those guys are going to play. So their secondary is at this time of year, I hate to say that anything's bad because you never know, but it's a major question as we speak here right now.
Yeah, like you said, too early to determine if it's bad or good or otherwise, but suspect at the very least.
Yes.
To your point.
That's a good word.
He's Greg Cosell. He's the main man. He's always good to make time for us on the podcast. Of course, he regularly makes appearances on 3HL as well, where you can hear all of his great insights and analysis. Buddy, always good to catch up with you. And I'm sure you're working through the week. I imagine that Greg Cosell is not taking days off the way the rest of us are, but I do appreciate you stopping by.
Yeah, I'll be here tomorrow. I'm watching tape. I'll do that tomorrow, but Friday I will not be here because Saturday is my older daughter's birthday, so I'm taking Friday off as well. So it is the 4th. Yeah, I do that usually.
Get Stephen A. out of here. No, that's not fair. What you just did. That's Greg Cosell. Well, we hope your daughter has a wonderful birthday, and we hope you have a wonderful 4th.
We do care.
I appreciate that, guys. Thanks. We'll talk soon, Buck.
All right, buddy. That's Greg Cosell. What are you doing back there? Completely disorienting him with Stephen A. Smith sound.
We don't have another happy birthday.
We do. It's Otis Reese's birthday.
No, I mean, we don't have we don't have Frosty the Snowman saying, a happy birthday. We don't have anything like that.
Nobody is immune to the Stephen A.
I feel
happy
like Greg
birthday
should be
sound.
immune from this.
If it's your birthday, you get the Stephen A. sound. That's just how it works.
All right. Are we doing Friday Fire on a Wednesday?
You better believe it.
Do we have things to give away for Friday Fire?
Oh, do we? We got Jason Aldean, and I'm going to his bar, going to see him.
Okay, Jason Aldean tickets. If you give us your moment of positivity, it's a short week, and because we're mailing it in, today we are going to do Friday Fire on a Wednesday. 2 giveaways, not even in the same show, but in the same hour. How about that?
How lucky are we?
We are peak mailing it in today. Friday Fire, your moment of positivity, 615-737-1045 is the number. If you want to jump in, we would be happy to have you, whether it be personal, professional, sports, or otherwise. We will give you our Friday Fire. You can give us yours next.
Buck Rising is one of the least.
We've got Jason Aldean tickets for you to win. When's the concert, Robert?
Sometime in the future.
All right, very good. 615-737-1045 is the number. You call in, you give us your Friday Fire, we'll send you to Jason Aldean. What's your Friday Fire, you might ask? Well, it's the moment of positivity, the good thing that happened to you this week. Sports, personal, professional, otherwise. 615-737-1045 is how you get involved. My Friday Fire is a simple one. Randy Moss is coming back to ESPN this fall, Sunday NFL Countdown this season. He was forced to take some time away. He had a cancer battle that he was in the middle of that caused him to, obviously be weakened enough and not want to put up with the. Is it just studio stuff that Randy was doing, or
studio like desk stuff? I think he was doing like Monday Night Football stuff, like on site. But
he was doing more than he was capable of doing while trying to battle cancer. And it sounds like, according to The Athletic, he had given a statement to The Athletic that he will be back on set come week 1, and that has been the highlight of his offseason. So awesome to see Randy back. Hopefully the cancer continues to dissipate over time. I know he's been very complimentary of his doctors who have helped him through this process, and it's just been great to see the outpouring for him from all of his ESPN coworkers. So good to have Randy back on TV this fall.
That is awesome. We talked a little bit on Monday about the U.S. men's national team win over Costa Rica and penalty kicks on Sunday. Matt Freese, the young U.S. keeper, getting his opportunity in this tournament, saving 3 penalty kicks in that shootout. My Friday Fire, though, is what led to that moment for Matt Freese. He is the goalkeeper for NYCFC in Major League Soccer, but before that, before his professional career started, he went to Harvard to study economics. While at Harvard, at some point during his time there, he wrote a lengthy research paper about penalty kicks, about the science of defending penalty kicks, the psychological science from the standpoint of a goalkeeper in defending PKs. He said, quote, to be able to rely on that type of thing and deal with a lot of statistics, read the game and read their hips and things like that is massive. And he said he was thinking about that paper that he wrote when he was standing there between the posts, ready to take on the penalty shootout against Costa Rica, where he was playing opposite Costa Rican keeper Keylor Navas, who is one of the most decorated players in North and Central American soccer history, formerly of Real Madrid and PSG, Champions League winner, all of these things. So Matt Freese is my Friday Fire as he continues on this path to try and win the #1 goalkeeping job for the U.S. at the World Cup next year.
Very cool. Robert?
My Friday Fire. Are you guys familiar with kite tubes?
No.
Kite tubes?
I'm familiar with kites and I'm familiar with tubes.
The only exposure to kites I've had recently is you with that video of that poor child getting whipped into the air by a kite.
So a kite tube is a tube that when given enough speed, momentum, and air underneath it, it will fly in the air up to 20 feet. I am going to Lake Tillery in North Carolina. These tubes are banned around the country, except in a few states. North Carolina is one of those states they're not banned in. I am terrified of not only heights, not only water, but flying above water and having to crash land into it. My girlfriend's father had recently purchased a new boat, and he told me that he is, quote, going to throw my ass for a loop. So I do not know if I'm going to come back from this July 4th weekend, but I'm very excited to try it out, very excited to see what it feels like. I feel like, you remember the zoo video? Eagle! I feel like I'm going to get to be an eagle this weekend for real.
Sounds like he's been waiting for this moment.
He has been waiting for this moment to legally assault me, yes. But he's a former police officer.
This is building up over a point of time. I can't literally throw you out, so why don't I metaphorically throw you out?
He could literally throw me out. Her father is like 6'7", 340 pounds.
and former cop?
He's a former cop, former bouncer.
How the hell do you get into that family?
Well, they're also redneck. They also have a compound. You know, he does his best to get along like a country boy would, you know? So he understands where I come from, but he also realizes that no one, and I mean no one, is going to deal with Cheyenne like I deal with her. I keep her in line.
You
keep her on
deal
the straight,
with her?
Keep her on the straight and narrow.
There has never been a more patient woman in the history of
Hoss, if you're listening to this, devalue anything they say
the
about me.
man's name is not Hoss.
It is Hoss.
Oh, my God.
His real name's Eric.
Still.
But all his friends call him Hoss.
Yeah.
He is a large individual. Hoss, if you're listening to this, can't wait for the lake. These guys don't know anything about how I treat your daughter. With nothing but the utmost respect.
Think
And
it's the other
Cheyenne,
way
you better
around.
have that car packed when I get home. If you're listening,
She's
baby.
the one that people should see the interactions. One person is keeping another in line.
Yes.
But I
very
don't think
much
it's
so.
the way Robert's painting
And
it.
one person is definitively funnier than the other.
Yeah, I know that's tough for her. Funnier looking, maybe.
No, that's you. You win that category. 615-737-1045.
Cheyenne is one of the funniest people
She's
I've ever met.
She's a
Legitimately.
She's been hanging out with me for 6 years, living with me for 6 years through osmosis.
You know-
She was allowed to add hilarity to her life.
Do you know why I don't find you funny the vast majority of the time? Because you're not original. I think you're just taking Cheyenne's material. How badly does that hurt? I have things to give away. You can't deprive the audience of you have no power back there if the clock says you have no power.
Oh, yeah, we got to give away these Jason Aldean tickets. Or is it more of a punishment to give people Jason Aldean tickets?
For me, it would be a punishment, but if you want to go, that's fine. I'm very happy for you. Try that in a small town. Murph is in Nashville up next.
Hi, guys. How you doing?
We're good.
Hey, mine's super random. My Friday fire goes to Fred Durst of Limp Bizkit.
Okay.
I was recently on vacation in Colorado and went to Denver. I'm obviously rocking some Titans gear because that's our opener. And turns out Metallica's playing, and Limp Bizkit opened for them at Mile High Stadium, and Fred Durst had on a Cam Ward jersey. And I was rocking Titans all weekend, too, and I just thought, how is this guy a Titans fan? But it was awesome.
I assume he's capitulating the crowd, but I don't want to spoil. I assume he's not a Titans fan. I don't know that to be so, though.
He is, according to Wikipedia, from Jacksonville.
Okay, so that would be.
I heard that, too.
He gave it all
I
for...
thought he would be a Jags diehard.
I'm sure he is. He's probably just so. It's. I don't.
He's doing the Kenny Chesney thing.
Yeah, he's for sure doing the Kenny Chesney thing. Like he's just wearing random jerseys of people of the town that he's playing in. But I don't want to remove the scales from Murph's eyes, so it sounds like a lovely moment that you had with Fred Durst from afar.
So you're saying that he gave it all for the rookie. Yes, the rookie.
Cheyenne's so much funnier than you.
Wait, I don't get it.
It's lyrics.
Oh, I gotcha. Maybe it's his affiliation with Britney Spears. She was also pictured in a Titans jersey at one point.
Yeah, listen, maybe he is a Titans fan. We don't know that to be so, but I'm assuming that when most artists play in a stadium like that, they're going to pander to the crowd, and that would be a great way to pander to the crowd because I think it was like a Cam Ward Oilers jersey, which they're not even wearing this year. How about Kale up next?
Hey guys, Kale, how you doing?
Good.
Good. My Friday fire is for sure for the Gaines family. My cousin playing football with Brad Gaines, Riley Gaines' father, and for the NCAA decision to come down to strip the non-female athletes of the titles and to give Riley Gaines her just due and then let other athletes. I think it's a big day. It's a big day in sports to solidify women and women's sports only, and I'm just real happy for Riley Gaines and her family that she's going to get her just due with her title.
Okay. Did you get that? I got
Bits
like
and
a
pieces.
third of that. Terrible cell phone reception. What happened today?
Something about Riley Gaines. Who is Riley Gaines?
I don't know.
I think he's a country singer.
Okay, very good.
Do we have to talk about this anymore? Come on.
Oh,
Nope.
she's a swimmer?
Yes, she was a...
Hang on.
A swimmer that
I got
was
the
a-
article. Riley Gaines clashes with Keith Olber. Oh, okay.
Yes,
I guess
reading this is much better.
She's a political activist now? All right, I'm unfamiliar with this. Okay.
No idea.
All right, well, I'm happy for Gail. Robert is next.
I already went.
Hey, Buck.
Hi, buddy.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good.
Hey, first off, you didn't get enough accolades for picking Jalen Daniels as the Rookie of the Year right after the draft last year, so I think you're psychic, number
Excellent.
one.
Yeah, he put the Jets in the
And-
Super Bowl, Robert.
Yeah, I also did that.
Oh, did you?
Yeah,
okay.
I sure did. It's okay. No. We don't. We can just say the nice things. Go ahead, Robert.
And I'm picking him to be the Super Bowl MVP. So write it down. And I read a story that he's working harder than a Chinese and Mexican baby.
Hell
Confused.
yeah.
All right,
Baby.
very good.
I love how these people are all just dropping off too. They're just none of them want the Jason Aldean tickets.
I'm trying to figure out. So this Riley Gaines woman finished 5th, but now she gets a title because a title was stripped from somebody.
There was a swimmer who was assigned male at birth that was allowed to go into this, and it knocked her out of contention, something like that. So now they're saying that only women are allowed to compete in women's sports.
But she didn't win.
No, but I think it knocked her into 6th place, which is not placing. So now she gets now she gets to place because they took
She gets
the
to finish
person that
5th.
was assigned male at birth was taken out. I don't know. Not smart enough. I don't pay attention.
No.
to that stuff.
That sounds like I clearly Lucas and I had no idea what the hell he was talking about. Well, yeah, I mean, I guess 5th.
Yeah, so she tied with the
So
swimmer.
does she finish now in the money?
Yes, now she is 5th.
All right, that's okay.
Dang.
Glenn.
Congrats
and
on
Aaron.
5th.
What do you got, Glenn?
What's up, man? What's up?
Not much.
So my Friday fire is going to be the birth of Mary Jubilee, my first granddaughter.
Hey.
Oh, perfect.
There we go. That's
Would you
the
like
winner.
some tickets, Glenn? We'd be happy to give you some tickets.
I'll tell you what, I'll take them.
Okay, very good.
or listen to this. You can take them or you can double it and give it to the next person.
No.
Just give it to the next person.
No, give them the
4
tickets.
tickets.
We got to give the tickets
4
away. Give them the
tickets.
tickets. Give them the
4
tickets.
tickets
Glenn,
to the
don't
next
go
winner.
anywhere. Don't go
The
anywhere.
next person
What
to
are
call
even
up
these
getting
tickets? Oh, it's
4.
Aldean.
Jason
That's
Aldean.
right.
Nobody
God.
wants them.
I don't.
Let Glenn have them.
Like, is Jason Aldean put out a new? Like, what is the purpose of Jason Aldean at this point? in his career?
May Jubilee. I love that name.
That's a great name. It's a beautiful name.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
All right, very good. Coming up next, the final hour, we will talk about Cam Ward. Is he being overlooked as the number 1 overall pick? Jason Fitz, who joined us in the first hour, seemed to think so. Also, Dan Lovitz, the Nashville SC defender, will be on the show for the first time. I'm Buck Rising. It's 104.5 The Zone.
12:02. Good afternoon from the 104.5 The Zone studios. I'm Lucas Panzica. Tennessee football picked up some recruiting momentum on Tuesday, including a four-star duo out of Jackson, Mississippi, and D lineman Darian Albert and linebacker TJ White. Tennessee is up to number 12 in the 247 Sports recruiting rankings. The Predators made a signing on Tuesday, bringing in former Lightning defenseman Nick Perbix on a 2-year deal worth $2.75 million annually. And the U.S. men's national team plays the Gold Cup semifinal tonight against Guatemala. Kickoff is at 6 p.m. from St. Louis, playing for a spot in the final on Sunday. For all your foundation repairs and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Thank God it's the final hour because the show morale has never been lower. Robert is screaming at Lucas. Lucas is yelling at Robert. I, for once, am unscathed in this entire situation, and you're stuck with us for one more hour today. 615-737-1045. One more hour this week. Well, at least us as a unit. I'm doing Fox tomorrow, Friday, and Saturday. So if you do need some sports talk conversation, we will be hanging out for you or with you on Fox Sports Radio, which you can hear right here on 104.5 The Zone. Though there will be best ofs, is my understanding, on Thursday and Friday, Ross. Is that the case?
Indeed.
Okay. Oh, God. it's just mouth breathing came out of nowhere. It's very disorienting, even though I know I called for it. Anyway. Jason Fitz of Fox Sports was on the radio show, or Fox Sports Radio and Yahoo. He was on the radio show earlier in the first hour. And Lucas was watching one of the YouTube shows that he does for Yahoo. And the subject of conversation was what?
You want to turn yourself off?
It's you.
Oh, it is.
That's a fine.
Oh, no.
That's a fine.
Man, Twitter.
That's a fine.
What Elon has done with Twitter.
Eat it.
I mean, I'm closing it out and it's still playing. Ugh.
Eat it.
Fitz said on that edition.
You want to turn yourself off.
Of Inside Coverage on Yahoo Sports.
He says with a sneer.
I did. I was as confident as I was that Calvin Austin's name is Calvin Harris, the Steelers receiver. And he repeated it here that he thinks Cam Ward is the most overlooked, under-discussed number one pick at quarterback ever in the history of the NFL. Do you agree with that? Is there one that comes to mind?
The most overlooked number one overall pick in the NFL.
Because I kind of have one.
I don't know. I mean,
like, who's the guy that went number one at the quarterback position?
At the quarterback position.
And then we just kind of forgot about. You know, not us, but you know what I mean. Like NFL media, like it wasn't a touch point of every offseason NFL conversations like it was last year for Caleb Williams.
Look at this mouth breather grinning back there. What do you have back there?
Didn't Sam Bradford go number one out of Oklahoma?
Yeah, but Sam Bradford wasn't overlooked. Sam Bradford had a career that was way longer than Sam Bradford should have because his body was made of glass.
I have another quarterback that played for the Rams. Bradford was drafted by the Rams, right?
Yes.
Yes.
St. Louis.
I have another quarterback drafted number one by St. Louis.
Okay.
Jared Goff. I remember immediately just kind of forgetting about Jared Goff after the St. Louis Rams drafted him number one overall.
And he had a terrible rookie season with Jeff Fisher.
Well, he barely played. I mean, he didn't play until week 9.
But when he did get out there, it was bad.
Carson Wentz was the more interesting prospect to me because this guy out of North Dakota State who's going to Philly, and he's a year one starter as a rookie. So I don't know. That comes to mind. St. Louis, small market. Obviously, the Rams are a big-time organization. But that's the one that came to mind for me, at least.
Somebody in the chat said Jamarcus Russell.
No.
He wasn't overlooked
there was
at all.
So much hype. Yeah, so much hype.
So, I mean, we don't have the Fitzy audio from earlier, but you can go back and listen to the podcast after the fact if you decide to, about what his logic for Cam Ward, because we asked him, and he said, Cam Ward is the most overlooked number one overall pick he thinks ever. And I don't, Fitz's knowledge of that would go back further, certainly than yours or mine. He's in his 40s and has been an NFL diehard his entire life. It just feels like Titans fans want that to be so. And I don't fault them for that. But like the draft coverage, okay. I understand why you were bothered by the draft coverage. But also I completely understand what ESPN did. There was a huge trade that happened right after or during the process of announcing the number one overall pick.
But there's a way to do it. Like, NFL Network didn't have a problem with it.
No, I'm not. But I understood what they did. ESPN handled it poorly. NFL Network did it just fine.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Like, NFL Network covered that trade and also covered the number one pick in the draft.
But I wasn't super, like, I understand that I'm not the target demo there. So if I shrug it off, it's not the same as Titans fans looking around being like, hey, what the hell? Can I hear about the quarterback that we just drafted? Even though you've spent the last 6 months hearing about this quarterback.
But I did like their logic of the lack of spotlight being somewhat of an advantage for Cam Ward, making it a little less difficult as opposed to being the number one overall pick of the New York Jets, where it's just constant. And everybody in the league is talking about you and looking at you, and everybody in the city, or like a Caleb Williams last year. The idea that can maybe play into his development a little bit more, can put him in a better position to succeed. And maybe it's semantics, right? And there are players that would succeed no matter where they land and that would fail no matter where they land. But I do think it has something to do with it sometimes. Like, I think Sam Darnold was affected by being the quarterback of the New York Jets.
Indisputably.
Would he have been better off being the number 3 overall pick to the Panthers? I don't know. I mean, less of a spotlight, sure, and obviously what he's surrounded by is a huge factor, but it's an interesting variable that we don't talk about all that much.
I don't know. Let him be talked about when he is worthy of discussion.
No, I agree with that. I'm talking about it actually helping him.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Being an aid.
I think what Titans fans are trying to manifest around him is not helpful. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think he cares about any of this stuff. And that's fine. Like, fan bases are going to do what fan bases are going to do. And I'm not, Lucas is the fan police around here as opposed to me. So I'm not going to tell you how to fan. You know what I'm saying? But it doesn't matter to him. Why is it so important to you?
You misunderstand me. I'm not like banging the table and saying that it's ridiculous that we're not talking about Cam Ward and he's overlooked and under-discussed.
No, I'm not saying you are, but I'm saying a great many people in this fan base are, and I don't care. I don't care about it, one. Two, I don't understand why it's so important to them if it's not important to him. If he was sitting here talking about these slights, real or imagined, and, it clearly bothered him, and Titans fans wanted to take up the mantle and, brandish their sword and say, nobody believes in us, we'll fight for you, Cam. Cam Ward is looking around being like, no, bleep that. You can't bother me. He's literally saying, I'm uneffable with you.
No, I think you should take the opposite approach. Like, you should appreciate that nobody's talking about Cam Ward.
God, and I know you want to turn on Good Morning Football and hear something other than Kyle Brandt saying, nobody believes in the Titans except for me, which I think is a bit grandstanding, but whatever. It's a very easy position for Kyle Brandt to take. If he wants to take that position, that's fine. And if Titans fans want to gravitate towards that position, that's also fine. I'm just saying, what's the big deal? What is this? So, okay, he's the most overlooked number 1 pick ever, if that ends up being the case. And what? What does that have a single thing to do with his effectiveness as a quarterback? How does that impact his ability to help do the job of turning around your franchise? It impacts it none.
No, but that's what I'm saying. I think those type of surroundings for a rookie quarterback can have some sort of an impact. It can have.
Yes.
Cam Ward, again, like you said, it seems unflappable. So I imagine he'd be the same Cam Ward if he was in the most scrutinized market in the NFL. And we keep coming back to New York in that discussion. But
New York is a particularly toxic environment. That can wear you down.
But exactly. So that was the whole point of the discussion they had with Fitz and his crew that I thought was very interesting. That's not something that you have to worry about with Cam Ward here, like you would in New York. What are you making a face about?
The Knicks are hiring Mike Brown. All that to just hire Mike Brown. Oh,
what a disaster.
Now I have something to talk on Fox about. Oh, my God. What an embarrassment.
The fired Kings coach.
Please. See, who's laughing harder at that, us or Tibbs? Tom Thibodeau has to be looking at Mike Brown, or respectfully to Mike
What
Brown.
a disaster.
Come on. So,
has he, as a head coach, what's the furthest he's made it?
I would have to look that up.
Okay, he was the coach of the Cavs going to the conference finals. That was LeBron. Oh, he was LeBron's coach leading up to the Miami move.
Pre-Miami.
He was also the coach of the Lakers that got fired like 2 weeks into the season.
yeah, he had less than 2 seasons with the Lakers. But he was LeBron's head coach in Cleveland for the last, 4 years of LeBron in Cleveland. LeBron went to Miami, 2010?
That sounds right.
So he was the coach that couldn't get over the hump with young LeBron in the NBA Finals. And since then, he's been the coach of the Lakers, fired, like Robert said, very quickly. Cleveland for 1 year where he missed the playoffs. Sacramento for less than 3 years where he lost in the first round, missed the playoffs, and then got fired.
What an embarrassment.
Embarrassing.
What is New York like today? New York Sports Talk Radio doing 20 shares today.
Oh, yeah.
They are lighting that franchise on fire. So, you can, just to put a bow on this conversation, you are entitled to feel as upset or as unbothered about this Cam Ward lack of coverage or lack of respect or whatever you want to categorize it as humanly possible. It may end up working to his benefit, and it's not important. It's not important in the slightest. If you're bored and you need something to talk about and that's something you want to gravitate towards, that's fine too. But who, honest to God, cares? As long as he's a good football player for your football team, I don't care how much he's talked about or not talked about. Just let him play football.
Poor Mike Brown. He doesn't deserve this.
No, he really doesn't.
Now he's going to walk in his spot. Okay, well, you have to win an NBA championship now because we just fired a guy who got close but didn't do it.
You're better than him, right? Right?
God.
Dan Lovett's next. Ensure your retirement is the ultimate summer vacation. Call Trajan Wealth today because we are getting ready to celebrate Independence Day this week. It is also important that while you reflect on Independence Day, you can also consider the importance of financial independence and what a huge role it plays in your lives. And you know this if you're somebody who's experienced any level of financial insecurity or you've just been overwhelmed by trying to deal with your finances. That's okay. There are answers to those questions, and Trajan Wealth is here to help you find that through their process. They are here to help you as a veteran-owned company with Trajan Wealth CEO Jeff Jr., and he fully appreciates the importance of true independence. He founded Trajan Wealth as an independent firm, allowing fiduciary advisors the ability to customize a portfolio to meet your unique goals and needs. So call Trajan Wealth today to discuss options for achieving financial independence. It's one of the most important things that you can do. 615-270-5000. 615-270-5000, or visit them online at TrajanWealth.com. Advisory services offered through Trajan Wealth, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor. This is a paid advertisement. Why the hell is Luke Combs playing as Dan Lovitz joins the radio show for the first time? What are we doing back there? Who do I blame? Do I blame Robert? Do I blame Ross? Whose fault is this?
It literally has your name beside it, which means you pulled all of this music.
How could I, please, like I know how anything back there in that studio works. Welcome back to the show, fueled by Hattie B's Hot Chicken. Nashville SC is the best professional sports team in the city, and it's not even close. They are an absolute wagon. 13 unbeaten results to date. They have a huge game coming up this Saturday against the Philadelphia Union at Geodis Park. 7:30 p.m. is when the game will begin. I think this is going to be you tell me, Lucas. I haven't been to Geodis Park just yet, and we're looking forward to talking to Dan here in just a second. But what has the atmosphere at Geodis been like? Have people fully grasped how special this run has been? Well, Dan is here now. We can ask Dan.
Yeah. They've been away from home for a minute, too. 3 straight road wins before coming back home. Haven't played at Geodis since May 31st. So it's been a minute.
I know you don't rest on your laurels, Dan, and thank you for joining the show for the first time. But this is like a really special thing that you guys are in the middle of.
Yeah, for sure. Certainly in any sporting season, I think an unbeaten streak is hard to come by. It's certainly not something that we strive for, but we just try to win every game that we play. And by focusing on that, I think we've been able to put a good start to the summer together. And something like you said that you can definitely tell the city's getting excited about it. The fans are, long overdue to have a team like this come in and be in form in the meat of the season. And it's just an exciting time to be a Nashville SC fan and to be a player, obviously.
No, the city is eternally grateful to you guys because the state of Nashville sports has been tough here in the last couple of years, Dan. But to see,
I can understand that.
Yeah, absolutely so. So with the opportunity now to get back at home and to get back in front of a home crowd, Philadelphia is obviously a tough test. What are you looking forward to about the matchup?
Honestly, just what you said, it's a tough match. I think we look at every game as being a new opportunity to test ourselves and to move forward and progress and evolve as a group. But more than anything, like you mentioned earlier, I think being on the road for a little bit, it's always fun to come back home and to be in a good vein of form, to be confident, knowing that the fans are going to show up. It's the best part about playing the sport is playing at home in front of your fans, and we have a great place to do it.
Nashville SC defender Dan Lovitz here with us on 104.5 The Zone. They are back at home at Geodis Park. They've got Philadelphia coming to town. 7:30 p.m. is where you can, or when you can watch them, and you can hear the call on 104.5 The Zone. Lucas, you on this game?
No, Will be on this game with Eddie Carvacho on Saturday night.
Okay.
So tune in. When you watch on Apple TV, too, you can put on the home radio broadcast audio. Dan, I'm curious for you individually, having a career year, 2 goals, 5 assists on the season. How much fun are you having playing as a left back in this B.J. Callahan system where you're getting up and joining in on the attack, scoring on set pieces? I know Sam kind of snatched away one of your goals the other week against New England, but for you, how revitalizing has this season been?
Certainly. I mean, I've obviously felt it even when B.J. took over at the end of this previous year, which was a tougher year for us, but it just felt like we were going to end up somewhere special. And from a personal standpoint, I know that what was going to be asked of me was going to be something that I'm capable of and maybe a higher expectation for both sides of the field. The other guy playing the position on the other side of the field is having an incredible year himself and is now an MLS All-Star in Andy Nahar. So we're just trying to do our best to stay involved in the attack. And, for me, it's been kind of finding this new identity of attacking the ball on corner kicks and set pieces, what have you, and being dangerous in that regard, but trying to add some assists and get some of our attacking guys into better spots. And we have guys like Sam Surge, Hani Mukhtar, Alex Wheel that are really dangerous around goals. So it's fun to put them in good spots and know that they're going to convert, and just makes us a tough team to play against. So we're really looking forward to this weekend.
And Sam is just an absolute machine right now, getting on the end of these chances, 16 goals. But, I mean, let's talk about this, Dan. I was on the call up there. I was with you guys in Foxborough last Wednesday. I had it as a Dan Lovitz goal all the way through, a header to the back post. Sam comes in. He kind of gets that final touch on it. I think it's like 45 minutes after the game that they go back and make it a Surridge goal, giving him a hat trick on the day. How did you learn about this? Was he the one to break the news to you that he took your goal in that game?
No, I think we were both just kind of hearing feedback from the club themselves, the media department, then friends and family, and then Twitter, of course, and then all these other soccer tracking apps. They seem to be contradicting each other for the first, like you said, hour, 45 minutes, hour after the game. And at that point, who cares? We won the game. Just very happy about that. And for me, whether it's a third goal in the year or it's Sam with his 16th, I think it's just, or 15th at the time, or I don't know what it was. But who cares? I mean, for me, Sam's putting in a ton of goals. The team's playing well. I can contribute. It's an assist at the end of the day, which as long as the goal didn't get called back, which looked like it might. But then we were all good in the clear. So it's just a nice phase for us to be in right now, and obviously looking to continue to grow. And we have a big month in July coming up. That's going to be a lot of games close together. We're going to rely on the whole group to step in and play a role. But, for now, one game at a time. And so Philly's going to be the low-hanging fruit for us mentally right now.
It's just refreshing to have somebody who prioritizes the right thing when we work in an environment where we're all just trying to step on each other's necks to get to higher heights, not worried about the rest of the team. That's just the way that our atmosphere operates around here, Dan. But it's cool to see you guys embracing it.
The first chance I have to steal a goal from Sam, I'm going.
Sure.
That's
naturally.
I take note of that. Yeah.
Dan Lovett's here with us on 104.5 The Zone.
One thing you guys have been elite at this season is winning rematches, right? That's 5 games now that you've played a team for the second time this season. You've won all 5. Now you play a Philly team that's at the top of the Supporters Shield standings. You already beat them in Philly 3-1 back in March. Hard team to take 6 points again in the same season. You get the luxury of getting them at home for that second time. But what can you kind of take us behind the scenes on why you guys have been so good in those second games against opponents and what it's going to take to continue that streak this weekend?
Yeah, I think it's just our commitment to growing and learning from past performances. Obviously, each game is different given the opponent. But as you said, as we get to this part of the season where we're starting to see teams for the second time, at the end of the day, we have teams when we play early in the year. We're certainly not the same team that they played against back then. And when we meet again this weekend, we're not going to be the same team that we are come the end of the season. And potentially if there's a playoff matchup down the line, which we hope there will be. So we're just trying to make sure that we're improved and better than we were the day before, the game before, and certainly the last time that we played them, result being a good one and a win or not. I think it's just about growing and continue to focus on getting better at being us versus trying to reinvent the wheel every week maybe and trying to take away what another team's trying to do. I think we're playing at a good level, and I think it's more important to have our group focus on what we do best and to improve on that and see if the other team can meet us at that level.
This show famously wastes the time of professional athletes and coaches and general managers. Now, typically, we've done this to the Titans because my role as a Titans reporter, we spend a lot more time around them and bothering them. But, Dan, unfortunately, due to your success, we're going to have to put you through one of these games if you're prepared for it.
I'm prepared. Let's run it.
All right, Robert, how do you want to set this up? We've got goal calls back there to run by Dan Lovitz. How are we doing this?
Yeah, so it's just some hypothetical goal-scoring calls, and all I need you to do, Dan, is tell me if you love it or you hate it. That's all you got to do.
Love it or hate it. You ready for this?
Okay,
yes, sir.
So I got 3 different goal calls here. I'll start with Hani. Hani goes down. He's having a breakaway, and he makes a man fall. He shoots. He scores. Hani, I'm home.
I love it.
Okay.
Love it.
Right. Okay, we're starting off.
Actually, I feel like Lucas should do this because Lucas is the voice of Nashville SC.
I very much prefer Robert to do it. But I am writing them down.
Well, if you don't work these into the broadcast, the show is going to hold you accountable for it, just so you know.
Yes, that's 1 for 1, too. Let's go.
Okay, right. What do you got, Root?
All right, we'll go to Walker next. So say Walker's on a penalty kick. Walker, stalking his prey, sees the ball, kicks it. It's in the air, through the fingertips, into the back of the net. He scores! Skywalker Zimmerman, you are that man's father.
I hate it.
I hate it. It's too long. It's too wordy, right? Like, Dan, like what is the biggest sticking point there for you?
I don't know. I'm just closing my eyes and seeing if I feel something.
That's fair. It's a gut feeling type of situation.
What if we're better on a header, too?
Look at you
Yeah.
nitpicking
Also, the penalty
Robert's
kick
soccer.
is not a realistic scenario, so that put me off immediately.
Well, yeah, not a big knower of ball back here, just a
Yeah,
purveyor
that's just a note. That's just a note.
No, I appreciate it.
He's giving you feedback. Don't get defensive.
Well, this last one's for him, and now I'm shaking in my boots because this will decide if Dan loves it or hates it.
All right.
So, Dan, you come in, you score. Dan, I like it. I love it. I want some more of it. Dan scores.
I love it. I understand it's a really nice segue and a good link to another franchise here, so I'm all for it.
All right.
Dan, we appreciate you letting us waste your time today. We're
No, not at all.
We're very excited about Saturday's game. We're excited for you guys. It's just, like I said, it's very refreshing for us and for the rest of the city to have something to lean into from a sports standpoint, and you guys are doing something really special. So continued health and success this season, and we'll look forward to seeing you guys at Geodis Park.
Awesome, guys. Hey, thanks a lot. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Dan.
You guys did not tell us how handsome he was. Wow. What a stud muffin. That dude's chin, his jaw.
Please stop please stop leering at Dan Lovitz while he's still on the Zoom.
Making sure to get that in before Dan drops off.
He could not see me, but I could see him. I was staring deeply into that Zoom. Dan, I would love to get him in studio just so we could compare physiques, neck muscles.
Compare physiques?
I would like that as well.
We could go clav for clav.
I think we should take you out on I think we should take you out on the soccer pitch. I think we should see what that looks like. Maybe Dan can educate you not just in terms of soccer terminology, but soccer skill.
I would I'd also be down for a first kick. Like to start the game off, they have a first pitch. Ramon has pitched this before.
Do they do a first kick?
Yes, at every game they have someone who kicks.
No, they do the guitar riff.
Yeah, there's not like nobody.
Lucas!
Oh, damn it. I'm sorry, Robert. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. It went over my head. I actually feel really bad about that. You had him hook, line, and sinker on the idea of a fan or a personality
I was
getting to kick the ball first.
I haven't been to a game in a while, but I definitely would remember a first kick type of situation.
Oh, we're always half drunk on tequila by the time we get there. There's no way you would remember. There's a funny joke here.
The last time you and I went to a soccer game together, buddy, I almost threw up in a trash can.
That was a rough night.
Lucas just texting us both desperately trying. Where are you guys? Come hang out. This, that, and the other. Oh, we're pissed drunk in the concourse. Robert is having empanadas fall out of his mouth. We made a scene the last time we were in there. You down on Saturday? Oh, you're out of town.
I'm out of town. You guys want to hear a funny story about being half drunk?
Sure.
We ain't got nothing better to do.
We have nothing else to do for 9 minutes.
So my dad, one of his jack of all trades, master of none skills, is being an auctioneer, and he does auctioneering with this man named Kenny Cruz. Well, when I was a young kid, Kenny was doing an auction for one of the churches in the community, and he came. We went and picked him up. He's in the car with us, and he's like, "Oh, I had a terrible night last night. I stumbled into the bar, ended up stumbling home. I get in the door, open the door to go in there, and his wife's name was Sugar Bear. That's at least what I called her, was Sugar Bear. Okay. And so Sugar Bear's standing there and going, Kenny, what do you think you're doing coming home half drunk? He said, it's because I ran out of money. I told everyone at the church that story.
How'd they like it?
Great. He never did another auction there again.
Our buddy Thomas Edwards is coming out with an album, and the album's just called Drunk Enough. And it's funny because I've seen him perform it, at least on social media. He's posted some clips where he's just talking about, I'm drunk. I've been drunk enough to do this. I've been drunk enough to do that. Like he's talking through the song, and then he gets to the refrain and the chorus and all that stuff. It's really good. I think Thomas is actually doing.
So that's why you care now.
Sure.
You do have a tendency for that. He is uber talented guy. Always has been.
So you are out of town for this game on Saturday. Will is on the call for the game. Without having Dan dumb down soccer talk for us and me being like, help me understand, Mr. Soccer Player, why you guys are so good. I'm going to do that to you since we wasted enough of Dan's time.
We do that anyway with any athlete interview. Sure. We've already, summed up the stakes, right? Philadelphia, team at the top of the standings. Nashville's 2 points back of Philly. So a win at home over Philadelphia would extend this unbeaten run and vault you above Philly in the standings, which if Cincinnati were to drop points against Chicago, would have Nashville Soccer Club at the top of the MLS standings. After the match day is over. across the halfway point of the season. So the question anytime you're on this sort of roll, right, whether it's this unbeaten run or Sam Surridge scoring at the rate he's scoring goals is, okay, how sustainable is it? Can you maximize everything, squeeze the juice out of this run? And that's going to be tested for Nashville because you get Philly at home on Saturday. Next Saturday, traveling to Miami to play Messi and friends. Then you have a midweek at home against a Columbus team that is also very much an MLS Cup contender, and the grind just kind of continues from there. So these next 3 games in regular season play for Nashville are going to really test this unbeaten run that they're on. But you could make it. They're the hottest team in Major League Soccer. Philly is right up there as well. But Nashville it's just aesthetically pleasing as well.
I'm just worried that Dan was a thoroughly enjoyable interview, and I'm worried we're not going to get him back because Bert was lecherous over him back there.
Well, he was also aesthetically appeasing. So hopefully that he would come back on to hear more great things about him.
Aesthetically pleasing.
Kind of a hometown game for Dan, too. He's from the Philadelphia area.
Oh, boo. Hate him. Instantly got uglier.
What do you have against Philly people?
Are you kidding me?
A wonderful fiance is from outside of Philadelphia.
Oh, Megan.
Is Megan
come
from
on.
Philadelphia?
She's from Scranton.
That doesn't count.
That's not
They're
even
fine
close.
people, and you can't say she's from Philly.
That's close.
No,
I didn't say she's from Philly.
It is logistically close, but like the type of people in Scranton, Pennsylvania are not the type of people in Philadelphia.
I mean, it's a good 2.5 hours.
Yeah. Oh, that's like, oh, yeah. My girlfriend grew up in, what's a close Tennessee? Lucas,
Knoxville.
help me out. My girlfriend grew up in Knoxville. She's a Nashvilleian.
Literally, like, that's like saying Evansville is closer to Nashville than Scranton is to Philadelphia.
How dare you disparage my wonderful fiance? She lived 2 hours away from that place.
It's just unbelievable.
My opinions are restored of Megan, though.
There might be more people around the world that actually would recognize Scranton more than Philly.
Because of the office?
Because of the office.
Yeah. Does she get that often?
Of course.
Yeah.
No, she doesn't share that she's from there because she's not really from Philly.
No, but she shares that
the
she's from
Scranton thing,
Scranton,
like The Office.
Welcome to Scranton is the sign,
Right.
like in the intro credits
Well, it's
to
based in
The
Scranton.
Office.
I'm unfamiliar.
The Electric
You've never
City.
seen The Office?
No. The UK, The Office?
No, you know the Steve Carell Office.
Steve Carell. I'm sorry. I'm usually really good on this stuff. Unfamiliar.
Steve Carell, The Office.
He's from Minions.
What else? Minions. The guy from Minions.
I know him from
Yes.
Minions.
What's Minions?
Banana. You never heard Minions?
Stop it. You know what Minions are. The little yellow
Now
things.
he's literally doing the same thing back to me.
Yeah, he is.
This is what you do when you act like you don't know something.
No, but he's not one of those. Like, I know what the
he's
Minion
Gru.
figurines are.
He's Gru.
He's the tall
He's the
bad
voice
guy?
of
Okay,
Gru.
see, I've not seen. I know what the Minions
Despicable
are. But
Me.
like,
Yeah.
Okay, but Despicable Me is the name of the movie, not
Yes.
Minions.
Well, that's the prequel, is Despicable.
Okay, I didn't know if you
Minions
guys.
is the spin-off movie.
All right, I didn't know if you guys were doing a bit here.
I mean, we've technically been doing a bit this whole time.
This whole damn show.
Thank God it's the last segment. I'm Buck Rising. It's 104.5 The Zone.
I'm just going to leave handsome Dan Lovitz up for you guys to look at in the break. Hey guys, it's Robert again. Just me and you guys. Nobody knows I'm talking, but look at the musculature on Dan's arms. It is one attractive man. I need everybody to hit the hearts in the bottom right-hand corner for Dan Lovitz. Hit those hearts for Dan, if you love it. We should do this more often. What's going on, guys? Oh, he does kind of look like Hispanic Lucas. Oh, yeah, I see the hearts coming in. Put those hearts in the chat for Dan Lovitz. hate you lost your job, Ron and Q? Hey, congratulations, Ron's having a baby. Everybody hit the hearts in the chat for Ron having a baby. Oh, they putting faces in now. No, it's going to be a pretty baby. Y'all put the hearts in. Real quick, I'll do it with you. These hearts are me right now. I'm going to forget to put my mic out of 3. Oh, yeah, keep those reactions coming in. Hit the hearts right now.
I don't know what he's been telling you, but it's all lies.
It's not. No. How did Buck get his mic on? Hit those hearts if you're happy that the Diddy case is over. Diddy has been undiddled. Hit the hearts. Hit us. Make sure you like the show. It's Friday. Fireworks are. Oh, I got to put a song in. Hold on, y'all. Ross, quit telling these people I'm farting. It is Friday. It's Friday. We ain't got nothing to do. Hit the reactions. Hit the likes. Light some fireworks up. The Buck Rising Show is back in 30 seconds. Also, final thing before we come back, congratulations to Evan T. Hall, our number 1 chatter today. Agent S. Dot, number 2 chatter today. Tyler Dial, number 3 chatter today. Appreciate y'all holding it down.
What a show. I don't know if we did what we did. I don't know if it was good. Bert's just been communicating to the chat during the commercial breaks. He's probably just back there bitching about us to the chat, complimenting people. He's turned the show political because now he's lobbying the chat. If the chat wasn't already on Robert's side versus us, then they are now. There is news, though.
Yeah, there is news.
What's the news?
Ronan Q.
Ronan Q.
He got laid off. So his Friday Fire may not have been that good, but then he found out him and his fiance are having a baby boy.
Okay. Exciting stuff.
Congratulations, Ron.
Got laid off, then got laid, got right.
Hey, congratulations.
Well done. So there is news in the world of collegiate athletics, or is this specific to college football? What is On3 Sports reporting?
It is collegiate athletics. They are reporting that the NCAA Committee on Legislative Relief announced that it will issue, raise your hand if you knew that committee existed, announced that it will issue,
Robert has his hand up,
a one-time waiver to allow Division I athletes that programs place on the designated student athlete list to enter the transfer portal between July 7th and August 5th. The deadline for programs to assign designated student athletes is Sunday, July 6th. So as we know, there is a winter transfer portal right after the regular season. There is a spring transfer portal right after spring practice. This is a one-time portal that is being put into place for July 7th through August 5th of this year, right before the season, for designated athletes. Essentially, these players that will be put on this list are the players that are grandfathered in that are exempt from the new roster limits implemented as part of the House versus NCAA settlement that was approved last month. Now, the settlement came with this new era where a lot of roster spots are being slashed, right? Because basically there's no more walk-ons. Schools have unlimited scholarships, right? But limits on their roster. So we traded scholarship limits and unlimited roster size for unlimited scholarships and limited roster size, if that all makes sense. But that means that there are players across the country in all sports that suddenly wouldn't have a spot. And Judge Claudia Wilkins said, that's not okay. You have to have something in place so these players don't just get booted out of college athletics with the snap of a finger.
Yeah, and then they're looking around like, all right, now what?
Exactly. So those players now have a way to transfer to get themselves into a better situation, according to On3 Sports. So according to Ross Dellinger, an athlete is eligible to be placed on this list if he or she would have or had already been removed from the school's roster due to the new House-mandated roster limits. So there's not a limit to how many athletes a school can put on this list. It's not going to impact any big-time players that you might be thinking of because those players would already have their spot.
Because I think when people initially hear there's another portal coming, they start to get nervous about their roster getting pilfered.
Right. No, that's not what this is. This is 4 players that would otherwise have been out of a roster spot.
All right. That's important. And this is...
People are freaking out about this. Like the internet's like, they put another transfer portal.
Well, because people aren't going to read.
It's basically a transfer portal for walk-ons. Is essentially what it is.
That would be the best way to summarize it, because Tom Miller on YouTube says, my brain hurts. It's a lot of legalese. This is the problem with this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
When you decide to be a sports fan or a college football fan, in this specific case, you don't go into it with a legal degree to understand all the different things that you would need to be able to thoroughly process all the different changes that are happening and will continue to happen into the future to your sport. This is the problem with the way that the NCAA has handled this top to bottom. It continues to be reactive. And thank God the legal system is coming in to course correct the NCAA's errors, because there was not something to protect these players should they end up off a roster, as Lucas said, now that there are limitations to the roster size, but limitless scholarships. They are just trying to put as many protections into place and will continue to do so because these things will come up in court battles. States like Tennessee will sue to make sure that there can be proper protections in place. Tennessee has been one of the more proactive states in trying to make sure that they had as much of a grasp on this as humanly possible. And then even then, when you are proactive, the ground shifts under you year over year, and you have to account for whatever the next legal hurdle that needs to be addressed. So it's a good thing. What you need to know is it's a good thing. It protects student athletes, and it's not going to pilfer your roster the way that you think another transfer portal would.
Yeah. Wouldn't that be chaos?
That's what because that's what people are thinking.
Yeah, I know. Can you imagine hey, everybody, you can go wherever you want.
Let's
right now.
Go.
Before the season. Go.
Ready, go.
That would be insane.
What, did I steal your joke?
No, I just put me in 3 and screamed. I'm just realizing that I can talk to exclusively the chat now.
You are disorienting them because they don't know whether you're talking on the air or whether you're just talking to them.
This is just for you guys.
Now he's just talking to them.
This is for the air. I love this.
I don't like you having your own secret line of communication back there, because when you talk to them, we can't hear you.
Yeah, I just told him to shut up. If you're listening on YouTube, you heard it. If you're listening to the radio, you're not.
Oh, God. Let's play some polls and get out of here.
Yeah.
I love your feral, yeah, every time. Oh, wait. That was supposed to be just for YouTube. I love his feral. Because they don't get, you guys don't get anything during these, so it's the Star Wars poll. Oh, scrap that rubbish. I am not your father. I repeat, I am not your father, nor am I Buck's father. I wasn't a Jedi Knight, and what I'm trying to tell you is time to update the polls. Do it now.
Presented by Two Rivers Ford, the South's most trusted Ford dealer. What's the dumbest thing in sports this week? Eldon says Barry Trotz.
Yeah, he's not having a good week, at least optically. Maybe Barry Trotz will be proven correct in the way that he's roster building, but Alex Doherty was less skeptical of his draft process than he was of the trade that he made and the extension that was then given out to the player that he acquired.
Talking about Nick Hague. They also brought in former Lightning defenseman Nick Perbix, which is a move that actually makes a relative amount of sense for the Predators. But, to go off of what Doherty was saying, when he took over, he talked about getting back to the Predator way. But it also feels like they're moving backwards in terms of what it takes to win in the NHL, in terms of just the physical attributes of the players they're bringing in. To Alex's point, like, they're bringing guys that are older and slower back. So maybe that's not the best route to go. I don't know. No optimism right now from the Preds fan base.
The way that Robert and I made eye contact and tried to hold back laughter when describing the Predator way.
Does he play like a Predator?
Now he's talking to the chat.
Oh, crap. This is
another submission on the dumbest thing in sports this week was Diddy's verdict also. Is Red Panda washed up?
Yes.
How dare you put this out there? 53% say no.
Who, me?
Yeah. This is insensitive by you, who went after Robert for insinuating that not only is Red Panda washed up, but that she's overrated in general. This is like, I'm not going to use Derrick Henry because he's an absolute anomaly, but like, name a running back. This is like giving Joe Mixon 400 carries this year. Of course something's going to happen. He's getting up there.
He's not paying attention to you coming to his defense. He's too busy talking to the chat.
Oh, yeah. What was the poll result? Is she washed?
No, the poll result is she's not.
They're idiots.
We're asking too much of Red Panda.
I agree. She's underpaid.
Oh.
She's underpaid. It's too much of a workload. We can't
She
expect
went to the hospital yesterday.
This high level of
For a
success.
wrist injury. It was her wrist. She didn't break a bone or her spine.
You don't know that she didn't break a wrist?
I mean,
Wrists can break.
At
She
some
fell
point,
from an 8-foot height.
we have
Whose
to
fault
talk.
is that? She put herself up there.
We have to talk about, okay, NFL players put themselves on the field, but can we talk about player safety? Can we talk about shipping players to Australia?
Lucas did
to
just
play
compare her to
games?
Derrick Henry.
Right? 17 game seasons. It's going to be 18 at some point. Going to pretend we give a damn about player safety. Meanwhile, we're sending Red Panda to do 300 halftime shows in the first half of the year, and we're going to expect that something's not going to happen? Of course it's going to happen. Can Tennessee football be considered a national title contender before securing a top 5 recruiting class? 75% say no, they can't. And honestly, I agree.
Okay.
Cam Ward is the most overlooked and under-discussed number 1 pick at quarterback since who? There's one reply. Andy.
Just one?
Andy says ever.
Ever. Okay, sure. If that's what you all want to hear, fine. He's overlooked. I'm so sorry for your loss. I feel about this the way that Bert feels about Red Panda. Who gives a damn?
Oh, she got hurt doing her job?
Stop.
Isn't that what you say to me all the time? Oh, you're upset that you have to do your job?
Yeah, you were bitching about having to do your job earlier, and then I had to quickly point out to you, oh, you're doing your job. Good job by you. I hope you don't fall from an 8-foot height while doing your job and then sprain your wrist. Or potentially break something. We don't know the extent of her injury.
I'd show up at work the next day.
I don't believe you at all.
Those are the polls. Happy 4th.
Have a great holiday weekend. Lucas and Bert are headed out of town. I'll be with you on Fox Sports Radio tomorrow morning, Friday morning, Saturday morning with Jason Fitz. We'll be talking about certainly the Knicks hire. I know that's just been lobbed up to us on a silver platter. See you guys then.
Hey, guys, it's Lucas getting ready for the long weekend. Going to be beautiful.